well, in Hawara, this is the state of desperation that Palestinians reached. Your house is getting burned from outside. Settlers are burning your house at night. And you're staying inside, and you can't open the door to confront at least the settlers or try to deal with the fire. Because you're about to turn into shawarma.
What's up like ants in a colony? Organize the wealth into a socialist economy. A way of life based off the common needs. And all my comrades is ready, we can spread the seed. And all my comrades is ready, we can spread the seed. And all my comrades is ready, we can spread the seed.
Hey, what's
up, guys?
What's going on, man?
You can see me here?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can hear you.
you can see you here just fine.
Nice to meet you. How are you today?
Nice to meet you, man.
I'm fine. I'm just a long trip. Trying to find a functioning pharmacy at this time is so fucking... Yeah, bro.
Well, I have some questions that I lined up for you, but I guess that's like an interesting
Okay.
place just to start based on what you're saying there is like, what's your, like, I know I don't want to divulge what we said in our messages, but I know that you were like, did need to get to a pharmacy for something. Like, what is even like the state of like being able to obtain like medications like in the West Bank currently? Actually,
Well,
I think
it is.
Can I ask you?
It's a bit harder, but there are two places like Palestinians can get medications. You can get it through UN on UNRWA sometimes, and if it's not available in UNRWA, you have to buy it from the outside. It's not always available, but the issue here is that my mom called and I was out, and it was late at night. It's so hard to find anybody open at this point. Considering the security situation, people are afraid to just open their let's say markets or their places of work till late hours.
I can imagine. I've seen so many videos of like, basically what the IOF just like raiding into like, the back rooms of bakeries and other stores and just like harassing people on the street.
You've seen the bakery in Ramallah? Yeah. There was a bakery in Ramallah. People got beat up.
Yeah.
People got arrested. People just working at the bakery. But it's not just the IDF that people are afraid of. It's the settlers,
Yeah.
The settlers.
I kind of want to get into all that, but I have some questions to just kind of build us up to that point a little bit. Johnny, would you mind getting the YouTube video off here? Because I'm just thinking for later, if we put this on YouTube, I don't want to have like, it's going to be awkward for somebody watching it that we're all so tiny and stuff. But first things first that I just wanted to know, I mean, like obviously welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for coming on here. You're also a streamer. I'm hoping that we already got you a shout out because we should definitely be shouting them out in chat. If you're not already following Mo here, they are streaming out of the West Bank. So I think we should give them all the support that we possibly can. So if we can get a shout out for them in chat, I would appreciate it. But one moment. Johnny, can you just set it up so that we're all like large, like on the screen, like talking with one another?
Yeah.
Okay. So like, I guess the first thing I would want to ask you is like, first of all, have you lived in the West Bank your entire life?
Yeah. Yeah, I was born here and lived my entire life here. I lived in Amman for a year in Jordan.
In Jordan, yeah.
But yeah.
What, if you don't mind, I don't want you to get too specific of like and like dox you, but can you at least tell us like which of the three areas that you live in?
Three areas like
A, B, or C?
Do you mean yeah? Do you mean A, B, or C? No, I'm in A.
You're in area A. So that is the one that is fully controlled by the Palestinian Authority, correct?
Not really, to be honest. People just fall into this like characterizations and believe like it's real. There's no A, B, and C. I mean, the IDF can go patrol everywhere. They can reach everywhere. There is no. I mean, people try to make the PA authority or to give the PA authority more power than it has. They don't have that let's say sovereignty over their areas. I mean, just today. I mean, the IDF is just next to my house, or they're searching for it's not like there is no ABC. Everything now is C.
Because that kind of like
if that's
implies that there's some degree of sovereignty, really, even in
yeah.
Area A, which is, as you're saying, is a misconception. It makes it seem as though there's more sovereignty than reality would suggest, than there actually is in reality.
Yeah, yeah, and one thing I need to mention, like we have like this road that splits my village or separates my village to another village or my city, and this road is you know supposedly B, and B should be, and this road has been under the Jordanian administration at the time.
Okay.
Jordan was managing the West Bank, and Gaza was under the Egyptian administration.
Egypt, yeah.
Right.
So,
This was prior to 1967, right? Like
yeah,
after
yeah,
1967,
yeah,
there was no more. There was
yeah,
no
but
more Jordanian.
it's still B, but Israel is already taking over the whole place, so there is no B. You can't call it B anymore.
Okay, understood. So like, the next thing I'd like want to know is like, so obviously we've been reading a lot about these settlements that have been occurring in the West Bank,
Hmm.
occurring the entire time, and they're actually continuing to occur, and they have pretty much been steadily declining steadily increasing the entire time. In the area of the West Bank do you live in? Are you facing encroachment of settlers like near you relatively?
Well, to be honest, my where I'm living, uh, it's not pretty much surrounded. But if I go like I don't know, half, let's say, kilometer or 1 kilometer up north, I see people. I mean, I see settlers. You can see settlers because we have like three settlements in the city,
Mhm.
around the city. If I go to the old city, bro, for people who visited Hebron before, old city of Hebron is just, you want to know what apartheid looks like, just watch anything about the old city of in Hebron. It's a crazy Nablus as well, but not much as Hebron, But yeah, I mean settlers, IDF, just a daily routine.
When you say the old city, you're talking about the parts where there's like an upper deck where like the settlers and other people are allowed to be, and then the lower level where the Palestinian people are allowed to be, and they have
Yeah,
like
yeah,
bottles and trash and other things like thrown at them, right?
yeah, yeah, and people put it's like a fence,
Yeah, yeah,
because people,
Right. I
settlers
see. Yeah.
throw things at people, and this is just like a souk. People just it's just like traditional market. People are selling stuff, and I had a friend coming from Bordeaux in France, and we were, you know, I was just showing them the old city and stuff, and she asked me once why you have like all of this fence and stuff, and I showed her the. She was shocked at first, but well, you could imagine. I mean, people who are not, let's say, who had not studied this conflict or looked at Palestine before October 7th,
right.
because after October 7th everybody is talking, but
Yeah.
before it is just not much coverage.
So, in that, when you were referring to the old city, you used a specific word, and that word is apartheid. And right now, there's a lot of debate going on over here in the West as to whether or not that what is going on I guess you could say, there's like several different ways of like talking about it. Like there's Israel proper, and then there's also bringing into consideration the West Bank. Um, there's a lot of debate right now of like, can you call it apartheid? Can you not? Like, it's being
I
brought
know,
up
I know.
in the courts and things like that. So like, can you kind of just give your own interpretation as someone who
Okay.
lives in the West Bank of like how these conditions are akin to apartheid?
Well, I know the defense of people who say that there is no apartheid,
Yeah.
because I've seen it like multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so funny because they just try always to bring the so-called Arabs of 1948,
Right.
or the Arab Israelis. First, if you just give me a minute, I need to explain to people
Of
that
course.
Arabs of 48, it is just it, it's just an incorrect term to start with, like historically.
Right.
There is no Arabs of 48. There are Palestinians. There are
Mm.
Palestinians who stayed their homes in 1948, despite the ethnic cleansing. Some people fled
Right.
out, and became refugees. One of those is actually my grandmother. My grandmother from, like, my mother's side.
Mhm.
They just flew from. I mean, they just went, not flew. I mean, they just moved from Jaffa, what's called now Tel Aviv, Yafo.
Yeah.
You know,
Alpha.
the area called Tel Aviv. Yeah, and now they're living in Ramallah. So. Um,
Right.
some of them went to Ramallah, some of them went to Gaza, and unfortunately, during this war, my mother had like many calls about her relatives. You know, they're
Yeah.
just they just died, you know, or got killed in Israeli attacks on Hay al Rimal in Gaza
You're talking
and
about
Deir
this
al
recent
Balah.
conflict. You're talking about this most recent conflict, correct? Or
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm talking about this war. I'm
yeah.
talking about this
Yeah,
war.
because we know that there's other
Yeah, there's
many
protected
many
lead, there's
other
cast lead,
yeah.
there's numerous things. I was just making sure that you were referring to this
Yeah, yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. But the whole thing about the Arabs of '48.
Yes.
Even Palestinians sometimes say it here because you know they hear it in the media.
Right.
Yes.
The whole thing is just a term that like imagine saying like Arab Israelis. Okay, when people
Right.
say Arab Israelis, I mean there are Arabs living in Germany.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean not just like a group of people living in another country.
Yes.
But
Right.
when you start saying Palestinians of '48, people will start asking questions. How come Palestinians are living inside Israel?
Right.
Aren't these countries two countries at war? Aren't these two kind of people at war? Then people start asking questions.
Right.
Then they reach the Nakba, 1948.
Right.
Yes.
Then they start asking more questions. But when you say Arabs, Arab Israelis, or Arabs of '48, I mean people will not go the extra step to ask questions, you know, about the topic, you know.
Right.
But when you say Palestinians, which is the correct term because most of them are Palestinians, by the way,
Yes.
they
Right.
are just Palestinians. I have relatives there living inside Israel. Well, they are not close relatives. They're basically, you know, the relatives of my mother, you know. And as I said, like some people, some relatives of my mother stayed in 1948, let's say Palestinian borders. Some of them went to Ramallah, and some of them went to Gaza, and unfortunately, many of them died this war. You know, got killed.
My
So I,
condolences.
I I know that we're setting up as we're building up into this discussion of apartheid, and I understand what you're framing right now is that
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
the usual argument of apartheid is there's plenty of Arabs that live right here within Israel, and they get
yeah.
to be in the Knesset, they get to vote, they get to do everything that any other citizen does. But I actually, before we get a little bit deeper into the apartheid thing, I actually love what you brought up there because we were actually talking about this before you came in. How I feel that the term Arab is kind of insufficient for like what we're talking about because in one sense when a Zionist is describing the process of 1948, they will say, we were surrounded by Arabs. We were surrounded by Arabs. All the Arabs wanted to kill us. All the Arabs wanted to destroy the state of Israel. But then they make a binary where it is Jewish people versus Arabs. But
Right.
then when you accuse Israel of apartheid, they say, no, 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 we're all look, we're 40% Arab. We have all this Arab here. And then they talk about in the 1950s, the Arab Jews that came from Iraq and Morocco. Oh, well, I guess not Morocco. That wouldn't technically be Arab. But
Yemen.
like, coming Yemen, exactly. Yemen, Iraq, and places like this. So like it kind of renders the term Arabs somewhat useless when you're actually talking about this. And what you're referring to is that they actually are stripping away the Palestinian identity in favor of just Arab so that it doesn't
Right.
evoke the national existence of Palestinians.
Because like
Well,
Palestinian, I guess would be specific, while Arab is
It's a
like
broad thing,
this
right?
broad, nebulous, vague term that kind of umbrellas over like a bunch of different people.
yeah, they are just, you know, there are just a bunch of Arabs living in Israel. I mean, don't you see they have, you know, rights? They can vote. They can do various things. You know, they are just they frame the whole thing as there are, you know, some Arabs living in as like an Arab minority inside Israel, which is a huge minority, by the way.
Yeah.
They are not small number, but they frame it as a minority,
Mhm.
but they are not. Most of them are Palestinians. But
Right.
the thing is, one thing I need to clarify: there are some Arabs who saw in the creation of Israel, Arab Jews. I'm talking about Arab
Mhm.
Jews,
Yeah.
an opportunity to raise the standard of living. You know, Arab countries don't have like a great economy.
Right.
Economies, if we exclude the Gulf countries.
Right.
So we're talking about Yemen, Iraq, Syria. So you're a Yemeni and you see You see Israel, this uh, develop, let's say,
Association
developed
with them.
a
Yeah.
nation that has high tech development and great economy. So why don't I just become an Israeli citizen? You just go apply and you prove that your parents are Jewish and you go through this whole thing, which is weird.
Yeah.
Israel is the only country that gives citizenships on basis of religion.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And then the next situation there is like, while we can recognize that there is a Arab minority that does exist within Israel that does receive the full citizenship and the full rights, when you bring specifically the West Bank into the equation while we're discussing apartheid, this is
Yeah,
where the actual conditions of apartheid start to present themselves, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Can you just
Yeah,
describe a little bit of how that
yeah,
plays?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, the thing is, the people who defend apartheid go for the Arabs inside Israel
Right.
because in all fairness, they live a better life than
Yeah.
us here.
Yeah. I don't even
But
disagree with that. Yeah.
yeah, but when you bring up the West Bank and they know that Israel is actually in control of the West Bank, and you go through checkpoints, you go through Israeli checking systems. You're just a sub-Israeli here.
Hmm.
You're an Israeli, but we don't want to recognize you as Israeli. Or some settlers here
Right.
say that if you take control over an area, any non-Jewish person in this area will become like a slave.
Hmm.
Like a subhuman. We'll just let you live, but just do your job, just like they do with Palestinians.
Yeah.
Sometimes they make them work in these settlements, and when you just finish your work, if you stay 1 hour later, like you stay 1 hour later, if you go work in Tel Aviv and your permit says at 10 p.m., you should you know get out of Israel completely.
Mm.
If a police see you 1 hour later after your permit, which is like few hours, it's not
Yeah.
like a visa, like
Right.
working
Yeah.
visa or
A
something.
month
No,
or
it's not a
two.
visa. But
Mhm.
the Israelis call it visa. It's not anything like a visa. It's just a permit for a few hours. You give your labor and then you go back to the West Bank.
Right.
If they see you, bro, you're in big trouble.
Can
Weren't
I?
they for a time they were even using like ankle monitors, right, on people that were going to be like working
Yeah,
in
yeah,
yeah.
I've seen that at the start of the war. I think then
Yeah. I think
I
they
think
probably got rid of it by now, but
yeah,
like
yeah, B'Tselem, I think, or I forgot
That's
which
right.
organization,
yeah.
like wrote something about it, and
Yeah.
then Israelis thought that this is like inhumane to deal
Yeah.
with people like this, but
Basically
then they
tracking
got rid
them
of it.
like
Yeah, yeah,
animals, or like they're criminals already, or they've done something criminal. But I wanted to touch on something that you brought up about, like, that there were Arabs that like sided with the Zionist forces because they thought it would raise the standard of living, and we see that throughout like a lot of different colonial movements, that there is a subsection of the population that will side with the colonizer, thinking that it will raise the standard of living or make them more cultured or more advanced or something like that. We see it in India, we've seen it in Iran, we've seen it in Afghanistan, basically everywhere throughout, like Africa, Asia, you name it, right? You have people that side with them, right? And they kind of like favor the culture of like the colonizer as opposed to like their own culture, and they start adopting like the talking points. Basically, like a lot of what Frantz Fanon like was writing about.
yeah. There is what you can call like Stockholm syndrome, but
Right.
it, it's not always the case. There are some people maybe who are not, maybe who don't want any part of Zionism,
Sure.
as a whole idea, but it just serves them. I can get a new job in Israel. I
Right.
can get new standard of living. I can get a passport that maybe allow me to enter any other country.
I can feed
You're
my
not.
kids better and easier,
Yeah, 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 yeah. It is just a better chance of living, let's say, and a higher standard of living, and people just, yeah, let's go, let's be an Israeli. I'm talking about Arab Jews in
Right.
Yeah.
general.
And this also is a little bit more complex than just your average colonial collaborators of the colony, because there is also this religious element where an Arab person can also be a Jewish person simultaneously as being Arab, and thus instead of identifying with a degree of Arab nationalism, they use their religious identity to instead identify with Zionism.
Yeah. But one thing about Arab Jews, we had Arab Jews, we had Palestinian Jews here.
Yes, yes,
Actually, we had a Palestinian parliament under Yasser Arafat, and
yeah.
the Jews of Nablus. If you know the Samaritans, it's a Jewish minority here who claim to have like the oldest Torah in the world. If you search it on Google, it's very interesting. I just covered it on my stream. Uh, the Samaritans had a seat in parliament. They can vote in Palestinian parliament. These are Jews, These are Palestinian Jews, and they had a seat in parliament. The Christians, the liberals, some people think like Palestine is Hamas.
Right.
This is fairly new, bro. It's insane that people, maybe October 7th, maybe the let's say the magnitude of coverage of October 7th maybe made people in the West like look at Palestinians as supporters of Hamas, or they are just Hamas, or
Right.
Islamist for the sake of it,
Right.
and we have like multiple factions. We have like the Popular Democratic Front. We have the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, which is a Marxist organization,
Yeah.
communist Marxist organization. This is not Islamist by any way. Fatah is as secular
Well,
secular as you can be.
yeah, and the
Yeah.
PLO
Yeah.
itself, which existed for far longer than Hamas.
The
has
Jews,
power.
the Jews in Palestine had their party. I forget the name, but they had parliament representation in the Palestinian parliament. So it's like different factions. There are different factions, and there are different components of the Palestinian community. Actually, one of the most famous writers in Palestine is called Ghassan Kanafani, and
We
Ghassan
love him.
Kanafani. Yeah. Ghassan Kanafani, for people who are interested in reading Ghassan Kanafani, just read a book called Men in the Sun. It's so great.
Yeah.
It just covers the life of a Palestinian refugee and the hardships
Yeah.
when they are going over the borders and whatnot. But Ghassan Kanafani is a leader. Was a leader and an author for the PFLP. And he got assassinated in Beirut by basically placing a bomb in his car by the Mossad. It's just one of the various many. One of the many assassinations that Israel committed against Palestinian leaders.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was also a journalist, which is, I think, like the primary reason why, because he was just not even just like a journalist, not even just like a writer and a poet, but like an amazing orator. And I'm sure we've all by now seen the interview with him talking with that journalist, where he refers to what you are talking about is a conversation between the sword and the neck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's such a powerful statement.
And the PFLP basically stems from the idea of Arab nationalism. There was Arab nationalism
Right.
in the 1950s.
Yeah,
that were basically
Pan-Arabism.
Yeah, that's when
Yeah.
Nasser was like the beacon of Arab nationalism.
Yeah, and was basically smashed by the sheer support of Islamic radicalism by the West, and I'm pointing here Britain and the United States. Britain and the United States took Saudi Arabia as their favorite, their basically the most favorite second ally. The most important second ally in the region after Israel is Saudi Arabia.
Yeah,
And Saudi Arabia was spreading, these radical Islamist ideas and whatnot. Well, the West saw an opportunity to smash the Arab nationalism. Well, basically, the what's called how do you say, the Trayo aggression? They say it like on Egypt when France, Britain, and Israel,
Mhm.
the three of them attacked Egypt on
19, in
and tried
1955, the Suez Canal crisis.
the Suez Canal crisis,
Suez
yeah,
Canal crisis, yeah.
and it all ended up with I guess Khrushchev from the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
They had strong relations with Egypt, and they were well
To be
basically
fair,
most.
Nasser wanted to build a dam and he wanted funding to build a dam. He tried going to the United States. He was trying to play the Soviet Union and the United States off of one another to get funding for his dam. When they would not give it from the United States, he went to the Soviets. So,
Right.
yes, he was working with the Soviets, but it wasn't like as nefarious as maybe the United States or Britain would make it out to be, because he was willing to just get funding from whoever. And this was like, he was part of the non-aligned movement, and the non-aligned movement was very big at saying like, hey, we're not with the West, we're not with the Soviets, but we'll take money with who, or we'll take alliances from whatever seems convenient to us.
Well, you've just outlined like the basic 101 Egyptian policy. Egyptian policy, Egyptian foreign policy has been like this,
Yeah.
Soviets, Americans,
Yeah.
and if you just go like inspect the Egyptian weaponry right now, the Egyptian army, most of the old Egyptian weapons were Soviets.
Right.
The newest are American equipment, and the Americans gain much, by providing like Egypt their military allowance. They provide them a yearly military allowance
Yeah.
for their defense budget, and basically you're just ensuring the security of Israel in a way.
Yeah.
Just like the close relationship between Jordan and Britain.
Right.
Jordan and Britain, they have high profile, relations in terms of intelligence and
Right.
providing intel and security information. It's
Jordan, what during the whole drone strike by Iran, like was one of like the first countries to be like, we have Israel's back. We support our friends in Israel or whatever, with like their king dressed up in like a flight outfit like George Bush in 2005
yeah.
or whatever. But like I think another interesting thing that like I don't think a lot of people in the West really reckon with is that like Hamas was founded in 1987. It is not that old of a organization, but they like to pretend as if like, Hamas has been around since like, 1948, that like, Israel's just been surrounded by like hardcore Islamists, and they completely ignore Arafat. They completely ignore Nasser. They completely ignore a lot of like these
Mossadegh in Iran was secular. Afghanistan had a secular government in the 80s until the Mujahideen was propped up. I mean, a lot of places within the Middle East in this time period, in the time period of Arab nationalism, had a strong secular and in many respects progressive. Now, it may be nationalistic, it may be socialistic, but it was actually quite progressive and secular until, in most cases, a Western power came and sabotaged that progression.
Yeah. And basically, look, Islam has been a part of this region for
of course,
about 1500 years.
Yes,
and you can't take that away, but you have a progressive movement, you have a progressive national secular movement that were sweeping across the we call it the Arab nation, which is like 22 Arab states. Well, they will never be a nation. Like if the Arab country is fighting with the neighboring country, but we call it like basically there is the nation. Like people call for unity. It's by now people look stupid, but it's crazy. You have this secular movement, and it's getting stronger and stronger. And then you have the wars in Egypt, and then you have the support, the support of Saudi Arabia and the Islamic radicalization at the time. And all of a sudden, you see something called the wake up in the 70s. There is something called the wake up period, the Islamic wake-up period or something like this. I'm trying to translate from Arabic because I don't know if there is an English term for it. So, this period is basically, is a reviving of a sort of Islamic radicalization. Like,
Right.
most, the most radical is Islamist organizations at this period were, we're getting funded by either individuals, organizations, God knows, but they grow so much, and they grow
Yeah.
in power. One of them is a very global,
The
so
Taliban?
no, 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 no,
The Islamic
no, no, no. I'm talking about Hizb ut-Tahrir, if you know it. Hizb ut-Tahrir is a very, very global, very big organization.
I have
We have it
never
here in
heard this
Palestine.
term once, and I am from the USA and grew up like right next to New York, and I have never heard of this
Yeah,
group.
maybe if you're from the UK, where they are in the UK, very active,
I have family
very
in the
active.
UK. I have never heard of this term. Well, it's an
It's
organization.
Hizb ut-Tahrir. Yeah, if you search it
Hezbollah.
up, you will know much about him. They believe in the caliphate and theocracy in general. They don't believe in secularism.
Well,
They believe in any like modern let's say type of statehood or governing, let's say.
now that you're kind of bringing this up and we're kind of getting on this issue because we are here in the United States of America and like maybe we read into this in a little bit more of an enthusiastic way than other people, but right now there is a narrative within the United States that Palestinians as a whole are incorrigibly radicalized, fundamentalist, etc., and all these things. So it's like I kind of wanted to just ask you, and feel free if you don't feel comfortable answering some of these questions, but like where you are in the West Bank, like what is kind of like can you give like a nuanced description of like what the climate is like? How do people feel about Hamas in the West Bank?
Yeah. Well, after October 7th, Hamas gained lots of support,
More support,
and
right? Yeah, I saw the
yeah, yeah,
polls. They were less popular. Now, do you think that support is just because of the war, that because of the way that the destruction is being waged, that it's less ideological and more just because of the circumstance of the war that they're rooting for Hamas to beat Israel?
well, no, I think that there is a state. There was a state of stagnation and depression, or let's say losing of hope.
Yeah.
Losing of hope for so long in the Palestinian community. The Palestinian community was seeing settlements bigger and bigger. Was seeing, you just grow up. I remember like my childhood. I bring this up. In my childhood, I saw like APCs, tanks. Maybe before I know, like trucks or let's different types of cars. I was seeing like small cars, but I see like many tanks. I'm talking 2000, 2002.
Now,
The invasion of West Bank.
I hate to bring this up, but you bring up 2002. 2002, there was a very large incursion into the West Bank at Jenin, in the Jenin refugee camp, correct?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Not only Jenin, Hebron,
Oh,
the
not
whole
just
West Bank.
Okay.
The whole West Bank. There was an operation. I think in 2000, there was an operation. I forgot
Yeah.
its name. So there was an operation by the IDF, and you're seeing military life. You're seeing all the military equipments. You're seeing like tanks going in the streets, and the pavement of the street maybe
Broken.
so cheap or something. Gets broken after Merkavas, walk over it. It's a crazy. I'm saying, you need to link all these events. People seeing the act of division, between Hamas and Fatah in 2007, basically, made Palestinians lose hope, because you have people who are so pro Fatah and people who are so pro Hamas, and you have settlements getting bigger and bigger. You have Israeli aggression on, let's say, on Al-Aqsa Mosque and
Right.
other, let's say, religious places. So people see this, and people see no sign of hope. Then comes October 7th. Well, when October 7th came, like, it's not like people, oh, come on, go kill all the Jews. No,
Right.
it is just it is just give Palestinians another look at the idea. Because the Palestinian cause was dead. October 6th was dead.
Right.
There was no Palestine. Nobody was talking about Palestine. I
No.
mean,
Well, can I bring
rarely.
one thing in that as well? Because we actually read a book on stream about Palestine in the summer before October 7th. And while we were reading this book, I saw on the news that Israel was launched its largest campaign into the West Bank since 2002. So this is 2023, and apparently it was also at the Jenin refugee camp as well. So, like you said, no one knew about this. On October 6th, no one knew about this. There's the largest military campaign in the West Bank in 20 years, but like this is not factored into the discussion of October 7th. You know what I mean? Like, so like,
To be fair, the 2021 incidents in Sheikh Jarrah, if you heard about it, Sheikh Jarrah, the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians in Jerusalem,
Yeah.
and you have
it's
people
because of
like,
Donald Trump. Was this because of Donald Trump making it the capital of Israel?
no. That actually affected the whole thing, but Sheikh Jarrah gained much attention because I think because it was the start of let's say how do we say, like, the increase in activism, like it was building up, like, the activism for Palestine. And I think at this point, I think the first one was to share about it, this musician called Roger, his name?
Roger Waters from Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
There's
Roger Waters.
Huge advocate for Palestine.
I also
Yeah.
listen to a Palestinian hip hop group named Shabjid and Al Nathar that made a song called Sheikh Jarrah with Dabdur. Am I?
Yeah, Shab Jdid, yeah. I know him personally, actually. I
Get
know
out
the
of here! Are
guy.
you serious?
Yeah.
We're huge
I met
fans.
I met him once in Bethlehem, but I don't know where he is right now. He's like traveling, right now.
I hope he's all
Traveling.
right. Like, I'm a huge supporter of Blattnam. All right, like
They do basically, their latest song, in An, if you know it.
yes. In
Yeah. Aywa. This song actually made them very famous, at least in the Palestinian community. We
Hey, Sultan
when you-
slaps, man.
Yeah, the whole record.
So just,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
So what we were talking about?
Well, okay, so like, first we were
steered
kind of
away.
talking about the conditions in the West Bank before October 7th.
Yeah.
Like to show people that there was like a lot of conflict, there was people dying, people be like October 7th wasn't something that just came out of nowhere. There's been people that there's been military campaigns, there's been people dying all throughout Palestine obviously for decades, but also just right before October 7th. Like this didn't just come out of nowhere. It's kind of what we were establishing, I think.
I mean, I think people in the West maybe were the ones who didn't expect it. Maybe the Israelis didn't expect
Well,
it.
this
but
is what they're
people here-
saying now. What I'm saying is like the American media environment now, everything starts at October 7th. There is no history that exists before that. And what I'm trying to bring up is that we saw on the news and we discussed on our channel that there was one of the largest military invasions of the West Bank in over 20 years, just a mere months or weeks before October 7th.
In May, I want to say.
Probably May, yeah.
Yeah. Well, one example. I give you one example of how the whole thing about October 7th, is being like exaggerated more and more just to make Palestinians look bad and stuff. I think when the PFLP used to hijack airplanes in the 70s,
Leila
we're talking
Khalid.
in the 70s,
Like Leila Khalid and
hijacking flights, and if you know the Entebbe raid in Uganda, and the Ugandan government being complicit, not the Ugandan government, I forgot which African government that basic Kenyan government, basically allied with the Israelis, and then tried to free those hostages, and they killed Palestinian fighters and whatnot. The whole thing blew up on one incident when Wadia Haddad, who was basically the hijacker of those airplanes, he was the leaders, and doing all these were described as terrorist acts. Um, well, if you do it right now, well, 100% they are terrorist acts. But at the time,
Times were
at the
different
time,
back then.
no. I'm telling you. At the time, this
Yeah.
was the Palestinian way of telling people. Why would you go hijack an airplane?
Right.
Just you wake up in the morning and you go hijack an airplane. I
Yeah.
mean, the whole thing, it was just a way to tell people that we're here. We're
Right.
just being killed, bro. Just to bringing attention to the Palestine. There was no social media. There was
Right.
nobody talking about
Right.
Palestine. There was no podcast. Nothing, bro.
Right.
People were barely writing. I think only AP, Associated Press, maybe,
Yeah.
and Al Jazeera, when it was founded, started talking about Palestine. Other than that, nobody actually cared. But people who are getting slaughtered here, the PFLP at the time, thought that these acts, may bring at least attention to the Palestinian cause and to Palestinian suffering.
Yeah.
And it all blew up when, in the Munich incident where
Right.
they,
Yeah.
kidnapped the Israeli Olympic team.
Yeah.
Were barely Israelis; they were just Europeans. But
To your
anyway,
point, there's like a guy Sami Hamdi. Like, I may not agree with him with everything, but I do think there is merit to his argument that October 7th let the world know that, like,
yeah, the same thing.
the
The same
Israelis
thing
were
with PFLP.
yeah, the Israelis were normalizing relations with the Turks, right? In Turkey, they were normalizing relations with Saudi Arabia. They were already normalizing relations with UAE. They were normalizing relations, or had already, with Jordan, right? Egypt, you name it. They had these like long-standing normalized relations, or were like, kind of strengthening those ties, right? And completely ignoring the fact that Palestinians even still existed or were even like part of the equation of that normalization. And October 7th was sort of like that jarring, like, no, you cannot forget us.
Yeah.
We will not let you forget us.
We won't die quietly.
Right.
We won't lay down and die quietly.
No, we will not
Yeah.
like, evaporate out of existence. Like, we are here.
Yeah.
Like, and to that end, like, we have seen, like, you're the one that's there. We have no idea. All we can really go by is like a news story from like maybe Al Jazeera or TRT or something like that. But we keep seeing stories, not as many as a couple months ago, but like almost a kind of popularity of Hamas rising in the West Bank, where it has historically never been popular. Is there any merit to that?
Well, I don't agree with the last sentence. I mean, they were popular. They were popular a long time ago. Actually, they won an election.
In the West
They won an
Bank?
election. Yeah, in the West Bank, everywhere. They were popular as a party, But Fatah had their supporters. Hamas had their supporters. They are the biggest. They are the biggest two parties here.
Right. It's like you're
And-
Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah.
When they won the election in Gaza, there was actually a joint operation between the United States and Israel to use Fatah as like a way of like coupping the Hamas government in Gaza, correct?
Well, there is an argument to be made there, but the whole thing about Hamas being not popular, no, they were popular. They were popular since their creation. But the whole thing, I think about, well, it's you have Hamas, you have Fatah, then you have the PFLP. Well, basically, you could say like Republicans and Democrats, but. Yeah, there's a huge division that almost turned out into a civil war in 2007 between the two. Yeah,
but I think that there's actual documentation that it was actually the United States and Israel that were actually attempting to like motivate.
Yeah, I've seen something about the stuff. You could say
we don't have to get.
It would be on par with how they operate, pretty much.
Of course, yeah, it would not be surprising.
Yeah.
It would not be surprising. Let me ask you. So, like, we kind of discussed about Hamas, and what is like the general feeling of the Palestinian Authority where you?
Oh yeah. But I need to answer your question about the state of radicalization in the West Bank and people going going to the right.
Yeah, please.
So people are going to the right because they've seen what the left, meaning Fatah and the PFLP, you know. Well,
Right.
the PFLP is innocent in all this stuff because the PFLP is still fighting in Gaza. You know, you have Abu Ali Mustafa brigades. These are the military wing for the PFLP, and most of their leaders are actually in jail. Yesterday, they arrested one of their leaders in Ramallah.
Oh.
So yeah, so the PFLP leaders are still being arrested, but you know they have like a less of a role than they played before in the Palestinian politics. But people are turning to arms, and especially in Jenin, Tulkarem, Tubas, Kalkilia, all these areas in the north, in northern West Bank mainly, because people saw basically no results. You know, people saw results from negotiations and the John Kerry parameters. You know the John Kerry parameters when John Kerry was the representative for
Right, right,
peace
right.
here in the region and was setting parameters. You have to say this, you have to say that. You know,
Yeah.
we should go this way. He's instructing like the Palestinians and the Israelis. The Israelis weren't attending any meetings, or they were just you know playing him just like they do with Blinken. Like Blinken like visits Israel multiple times. Do you think the Israelis care? I mean,
No.
they tell them tell him one thing, and once he go and board the plane, they'll bomb another school or
Yeah, they shoot a
yeah.
spitball at the back of his head as he walks out of the room.
So the peace process that lasted like about 17 years or something. Saib Ariqat was the leading negotiator on the PLO side. So basically people saw nothing, you know. So settlements getting expanded,
Right.
people getting killed, getting arrested under no charge, something we call it the administrative arrest. There is something called the administrative arrest. I think this is
Yeah.
only here in the world. You know, when people just arrest you because they suspect that you are, you know, a dangerous person. That's
Right.
it.
Right.
No proof, no evidence, nothing. What did I do? What did I say?
No
No.
trial.
You just
No,
go.
no.
No trial. Actually, today, speaking of the Palestinians of 1948 inside Israel, actually today, a very famous activist in the Palestinian 48 community inside Israel got released after 10 months for posting on social media. She, you know, she posted something on social media. You know, this.
Or like
Well,
pray for the
about
children.
it,
Like, no more dead children, please.
I mean, whatever she said, I don't have the details, but whatever she said, yeah, I mean, isn't that like freedom of speech? Aren't you a democratic country, the most democratic country in the Middle East?
Yeah.
You,
The
Right.
only. They say the only.
The only democracy in the Middle East.
okay, the only, but you're just arresting somebody because of a post on social media for 10 months
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not letting her family see her because people who get arrested during this war especially
Right.
they don't hear about them nothing actually actually last week I think they Ben Gvir extended the law. There is a law that they just invent laws in the Knesset, you know.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
So
especially Ben Gavir. Like, you know,
yeah,
he's.
yeah, there is a law that says that the prisoners, the Palestinian prisoners, their families cannot see them until like we issue another law that and let you at least see them, you know.
Right.
So
We'll,
some
we'll let you
people,
see them if we arrest you too, and then you get to be in the
yeah,
cell with them.
some people are got arrested since October, since the start of the war, and people haven't seen them. You know,
Wow.
you know the feeling when somebody just arrests your cousin and you never see them, or your brother, you never see them for 10 months.
I don't
Right.
actually know that feeling.
I mean, where are I mean, I read like a book recently about, you know, the treatment and, you know, the healthcare treatment of prisoners, you know,
Right.
inside Israeli jails. And bro, at least I mean, at least, you know, follow what every prison in the world like do, you know. At least let them get lawyers, let them get.
Right.
I mean, if not lawyers, at least let their parents and their
Yeah.
family, their loved ones, at least see them, you visit them. No,
If not, it's
nothing.
inhumane. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
inhumane. Other than that. I wanted to ask you a question as well. So I know that like obviously right now there's a lot of talk about like a one state solution, a two-state solution, but in the West Bank you have so many settlements and everything is so almost like, broken up with settlements and everything like that. Like, can you speak to what like the actual likelihood of, and like how could they even do a two-state solution at this point? Like, is it even possible? Or I guess if it was possible, would they have to cleanse it of settlers? Like how would they even, like, how is a two-state solution even? It seems every day that goes by that it seems more and more impossible to obtain.
Yeah. The two state solution is dead long time ago, and people just use it for media consumption.
Right.
They just write articles. The two-state solution is possible if we do this and that. And the whole thing actually comes from John Kirby. Consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, not John Kerry. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
Kirby.
you're
Kirby is another terrible person, but yeah,
Same thing. Same
Yeah.
thing.
yeah. John Kerry. I mean, the John Kerry parameters and the peace process that he was the leader of.
Right.
America was leading the peace in the Middle East.
Mhm.
It was all a scam. And Palestinian got nothing, and
More settlements. They got settlements.
yeah. Settlements,
300 new
you know,
ones every year.
yeah, settlement building has continued and increased over and over and over until now.
$20 billion in aid yesterday.
Do you believe that as like someone who identifies as a Palestinian, like with the way that what is happening in Gaza in fast motion versus what's happening in West Bank in slow motion, do you believe that like that you are under threat of like cultural extinction?
Well, I don't think so, because we have Palestinians abroad, like millions of refugees. But
Right.
George Galloway once said, like, Yasser Arafat told him, "We will not be the Red Indians. We will not, we will not get the same treatment." But I think if those like fanatics, like there are people who are. You have very, very extreme organizations, like Jewish organizations, that people don't cover. Like people are very, very concentrated on ISIS, Al Qaeda, Taliban, and Al Mujahideen, whatever. But when it comes to Jewish organization, nobody is studying these people. We have
Right.
like people, we have organizations here like called the Temple Protectors, or the Temple Sons, or something like this. And these people just go attack Arab villages, burn people houses, like in Hawara.
Yeah.
Hawara and Nablus. Well, in Hawara, this is the state of desperation that Palestinians reached. Your house is getting burned from outside. Settlers are burning your house at night. And you're staying inside, and you can't open the door to confront at least the settlers, or try to deal with the fire, because you're about to turn into shawarma. So yeah, that's real.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, on top of that, these settlers, they are dressed in military garb. They are holding firearms. They are almost identical to the firearms that like the military is using, right? And on top of that, even if the Palestinians, right, that are legally on the land, they have rights to the land, they have deeds to the land, they have everything backed up paperwork wise, the military won't back the Palestinians up. They will stand on the side of the settlers who are
Yeah. And one thing I need to say, the Palestinians in Hawara reached a state of desperation when your house is getting burned from the outside, like settlers, using gasoline or whatever, and they are burning your house from the outside. You can't even look from the window, because you might get shot by these settlers,
Right.
or by the IDF that covers up for them. The IDF will stay like a few meters away, and they're just watching, people burning another people's houses. They're doing nothing.
Yeah.
But the state of desperation. People told me stories from Hawara. most people in the West Bank maybe know it already, but people try to use stuff to fill it with water, like
Yeah.
bottles and stuff,
Right. Yeah.
and try to extinguish the fire from the inside.
Oh,
From the inside, you're trying to extinguish the fire from the inside because you can't open the door. You might get shot. If you open the door, there is a high, there's a high probability you get shot by settlers or by the IDF. So you're just trying to. This is pre-October 7th. This is happening in the West Bank like every other week.
yeah.
Especially in Hawara. Hawara is a very very dangerous place people to go to. At this point, with the settlers attack every night. So you have people trying to extinguish, the fire from. So Palestinians got no protection, People think like the PA will protect you or nobody will protect you, bro. If a settler want to burn like the house I'm speaking from right now or something, I can't do anything.
Right.
Do you think I'll open the door and get shot in the head? I'll try to extinguish the fire. If I succeed, it's okay. If I don't succeed, I'm dead. I'll turn into ashes. That's
Right.
it.
I'm sure
So-
Abbas will send his condolences to whatever family you have left, and promise that
Yeah.
fewer houses will be burnt with the occupants inside next year.
So let me ask you this. So everything's happening. So now we hear so much about the Palestinian perspective and what they believe and things like that. What is the solution that you are looking for? We've already established that a two-state solution will not work. Are you in favor of a one-state solution, and how would that kind of look as you would envision? I know that you're not like a super, I know that you can't say exactly what it would look like, but just kind of like vaguely, generally in your mind.
No. I can say it. I mean, one state solution is okay.
Yeah.
But
It's pretty
But
good.
you have problems. You still have problems. Basically,
Right.
I don't think the settlers, especially those the extremists, the extreme Jews, which is not a minority, by the way. Like people supporting Likud, people think like it's a problem with Netanyahu and try to make
Right.
it a Netanyahu problem, bro.
Yeah,
If Netanyahu
Yeah.
if Netanyahu goes away or stay, it's the same for Palestinians. Another guy will come.
Right,
Who's as
Herzog. They
extreme.
want Herzog now. If Herzog takes office tomorrow, let's say they put like Bibi under the fucking Hague in wherever the fuck it is, Sweden or some shit. And Herzog takes over tomorrow, right?
Netherlands.
One of those fucking bicycle countries. And Herzog takes over tomorrow. The guy that like the Democrats are all like, we need new leadership. We need new leadership in Israel, right? Like he takes over tomorrow. It's gonna be the same shit. It's gonna be the same fucking bloodbath, or it's gonna be another bloodbath in a year after the heat kind of like dies down internationally, and like Bibi and like the other dickhead get locked up. It's just gonna be another guy in another year. It's just going to be the same thing that's been going on for over 80 years. It was happening under the English. It happened, after the Zionists took over, and it'll keep happening until, the Zionists are completely taken out of power.
Yeah. And why a one-state solution may not work is that people in Israel are looking far beyond Palestine.
Oh, yeah.
People underestimate this. Like people in Israel, like they don't believe like this is the Israeli kingdom. No, the Israeli kingdom, it goes from the Nile to the Euphrates. We have to take all these Arab countries, and now this is just a temporary period.
Right.
You Palestinians, like in the West Bank, especially, you're just working as slaves and you'll have no rights. But you're not our real, let's say, objective right now. The objective is that Israel wants to expand. Like many people in Israel wants to expand. So the whole thing about the one-state solution, when you see like Israeli soldiers wearing a map, you
And
saw
it's
the map
Israel.
of
Yeah,
Greater Israel,
Yeah.
and the Greater Israel, we have it on the shekels. Do you know? There was a cent.
What? No
What?
way. That's
Yeah.
Hang on, man.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
wild.
Go search something called Agora. Agora in Israeli. There is something called Agora or the cent. Actually, Yasser Arafat has an interview. Say I don't know how you say it on YouTube. Maybe Yasser Arafat, Agora or 1 cent of an Israeli shekel, and he will tell you about the map, the map. I used to buy with this like candy. Well, when I was a child, it's just yeah. When I was a kid, I was buying candy with this stuff. I didn't know if there is a greater Israel. I don't care. I just want the candy.
Yeah, yeah.
But the it is there is a map. There is a map that looks like Greater Israel. There are people who are so fanatical here. I don't think they will accept a two-state solution, at least anytime soon. And I think the one-state solution still have problems on Jerusalem, for example. I mean,
Right.
do you think the Israelis will let go of Jerusalem,
No.
bro? I mean, Jerusalem.
They're-
By the way, one point: Jerusalem and the West Bank are more important for Israelis than Tel Aviv. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
the Israelis are willing to give up Tel Aviv. They will never give up the West Bank and Jerusalem, because that's where, the kingdom of Israel was basically
Right.
in the West Bank, Judea. They are not really interested in Tel Aviv.
They want Al
So,
Quds for the third temple or whatever, right? Like
yeah,
they're,
yeah,
they're
yeah.
they're literally like digging underneath oh my god, why
Al-Aqsa
is
Mosque. Yeah.
Al-Aqsa right now, like, to try and basically have it just like fall into the ground. We have no
So
idea how
they are
much they're
thinking.
mining under it.
Yeah. My point is that they are thinking beyond one state solution. They don't care about one state or two state.
No, they want the
These
whole
people are
Sinai. They want
fanatics.
everything. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
would still be a
The
one state.
Sinai,
That's
the
still a
Sinai
one
actually is the route that the Jews took. Supposedly, the
Moses.
Sinai,
Yeah.
the Sinai Desert is very, very important, by the way, and that's why you have these Israeli conditions for the Egyptian army to stay in Sinai. You have to stay in specific numbers. This area. If you are an Egyptian, want to go to an area like in Taba or something like this, you have to get checked by the Israeli authorities. You're an Egyptian,
Right.
so yeah. But it's still in a better situation than the Golan Heights, which is Syrian occupied land by Israel. It's still Syrian. It's a Syrian land. This is not Palestinian land. It's a Syrian land. But just look at the Palestinians on one side and the Israelis one side. We don't want to expand. I mean, no Israeli, no Palestinian here. You would ask him, "Oh, would you like to take Syria or take over Syria?" No, bro, no. But if you ask an Israeli, just ask an Israeli in the street. For people who visit West Bank,
Right.
you go ask an Israeli, bro. This was the Israeli kingdom. We need to expand from the Nile to the Euphrates, and he will tell you a whole narrative about it. And if you know nothing about the topic, like just an average American, yeah, bro. I'm Israeli. Hi, I'm just Israeli, like you. Let's take over Damascus. Lebanese, the Lebanese girls, like
I just want to
Israeli
eat
girls.
hummus and Israeli hummus and
Let's say that like something happens, right, with the situation here with Israel and Palestine, where like maybe like an international committee comes in, stops everything, and then maybe there's some kind of like Nuremberg style de-radicalization campaign for Zionists. Like, do you envision that after that point? Like, what do you think? Do you think that the Jewish people and Arabs in a one-state solution can coexist in one nation?
Yeah. There was, I remember the funny Palestinian like proverb. It's just an Arab proverb.
Yeah.
There is an Arab proverb. It says, لو بدها تشتي كانت غيمت. I mean, if it was going to rain, you would have seen the clouds by now. So the situation is so helpless. I don't think there is any urge in the international well, I would say one thing, the recognition of Palestine state by Spain and
Yeah.
Spain and the other few countries, Belgium, I think. Is it Belgium or so? If you European
Ireland.
countries, yeah, that's good. France is considering it. Well, that's good, but I don't think the Israelis care if the Spanish, would recognize us as a people or as a nation. And as long as the Israelis do not recognize us as persons, we will never have anything, because they have the upper hand here.
Right. So to
Not
that
the
point,
international community.
this is the last thing I want to happen. I think this is the last thing that anyone really wants to happen, right? And it has been teetering on the edge of this, that like a wider regional conflict almost looks inevitable at this point, to what you brought up before regarding Eretz Israel and the expansion of Israeli territory, right? And it almost seems like they're itching for a fight with like a lot of, their neighbors that aren't the Kingdom of Jordan. Like, I almost think that's what it's going to take for the bombardment of Palestinians basically sheltered in tents in schools and like what used to be like, I guess, public parks and whatnot, whatever's left, right? I feel like it's going to take a military engagement from another country in the region against Israel for anything to change. Like, is there any kind of like, sentiment like regarding that, just for even you personally, let alone like that you've maybe heard from other people?
Yeah, but I mean, who's going to take the initiative? I don't think. Look at the countries, and I always talk about the containment. There's something called the containment policy, and this policy basically was adopted by the American ambassador to the Soviet Union
Right.
in the Cold War. I think Yugoslavia, or I forgot. I forgot his name, but yeah, his I forgot his name. But there is something called the containment policy. So containing the Soviet Union. Okay, there is something happening right now of containing Egypt and Jordan. Look at Egypt.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you look at Egypt at the map, I mean the place is just surrounded by continuous destabilized regions and wars.
Eritrea,
Look at Libya.
Ethiopia, yeah.
Yeah. Look at Libya. You have Libya from the north. Libya, has been a civil war since the toppling of Gaddafi by NATO.
Right.
You have Gaza right now. Then you have Gaza and Israel. You have Sudan. Sudan is pretty much in shambles at this point. The RSF, the Rapid Support Forces against the country's main army, basically decimated the whole country. People don't cover it much because it goes undercover because much focus is on Israel, Gaza at the moment. But in Sudan there is real massacres.
Yes.
Human Rights Watch, if you check the records, there are rapes, abusing people getting burned alive, people getting killed, a whole civil war, And you have Egypt. Well, Egypt, they got them, I think, with water. Same they did with Jordan. Jordan before if you look at the map, there's Jordan, there's Syria, there's Israel. So Jordan, in order to let's say decapitate Jordan or cripple Jordan, they got them with water. Jordan used to take cheap water, from Syria. That's Bashar al-Assad regime before the revolution and the crisis in general,
Yeah.
So now Jordan is buying water. I think 50 million. Is it meter square? They say for water, meter square or meter.
Yeah,
man.
Cube meter, or I don't know, whatever. I don't know how.
It's cubic meter. Yeah.
Yeah. They buy all.
Yeah.
They buy 50 million, I think, from Israel, and Israel gives them from Tabariya, which is an occupied, area. It has a big lake, So they give them water from Tabariya. So you have water very dependent. You have Jordan very dependent on Israel for water. So whatever Jordan try to do, we got you,
Yeah.
In Egypt, it's a different story because they have already a peace, say map and a peace agreement,
Right.
the Camp David Accords, So they can't add the new stuff because it's just signed by all people and unless Egypt goes to war to Israel and agree with new conditions, maybe something will get added. But they got them with Ethiopia. Israel and Ethiopia have a very, very strong relations, strong economic relations. Many Ethiopians are living in Israel here, Jewish Ethiopians. and they are working in Israel. They have strong relations.
Yeah.
Ethiopia built something called the Renaissance Dam, and the Renaissance Dam caused a crisis in Egypt and in Sudan, because you have the Nile, you have its how would say its
The
source,
headwaters.
its source start in Ethiopia,
Right.
then goes through Sudan and a few areas, then goes to Egypt, and Ethiopia started filling this dam after dam. You have like six storage now filled, and uh, geological, and people who geological specialists and people who study, basically water and stuff and the earth layers. They say if Ethiopia continues with this matter and filling another more dam, Egypt, the Egyptian fields, Egypt
Yeah.
very much depend on the Nile River for drinking and for agriculture.
Yeah.
Well, basically, you basically destroy the Egyptian agriculture business,
Yeah.
and before it, you destroy the Sudanese. And Egypt tried to reach an agreement between them and Ethiopia multiple times, but Ethiopia seems they don't care. Every time they say, "Okay, we will have agreement," they stall, and now you reached a point where Egypt is pretty much contained by either walls surrounding the country, or by water. And I think we will reach a point. I already explained this on my stream. We reach a point where Egypt has to negotiate Israelis to convince Ethiopians to give them water. That's unless Egypt goes to war with Ethiopia, which is very very high possibility at this point, because if there is no say peaceful agreement, or the United Nations won't take a step to ensure like Egyptian water security. I mean, you can't stay in Egypt and see the Nile River, water
Right.
reducing over and
Right.
over. And the Ethiopian pretext, we just want to generate electricity. We're just building a Renaissance dam,
Right.
But
And
but
like,
you have to go, because this is the main source of water for other people. You have to go basically with coordinate, at least with Egypt, coordinate with Sudan. But they are doing this without coordination, just unilateral action after unilateral action, and
right.
the Egyptians are fed up with it. I follow the Egyptian media a lot, and
Right.
and they are writers saying that we're on the edge of a war, a regional war between Egypt and Ethiopia. And I think if Egypt um, gets in a war with Ethiopia, you'll find these radicals in Libya, you'll find
Absolutely.
ISIS, you'll find the RSF,
Mm-hmm.
you'll find a whole conspiracy about Egypt, because Egypt is the last standing. I mean, is the last standing let's say um,
Secular.
non-oil, no, not
Oh,
non-oil
non-oil.
dependent country like the Gulf countries.
Right.
I mean, the Egyptians. I mean, the power of Arabs is in Egypt. If Egypt goes, there is a Anwar Sadat said one time, said this quote, and I think uh, it bears some truth. The Arabs without Egypt are zero. That's true. Egypt basically, the strongest military, the one of the biggest countries in terms of land and resources. So you can't, and manpower. I mean, 120 million people live there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there is a containment policy that the West is using against Egypt, alongside Israel and Ethiopia. So
They're not
yeah,
doing a very good job of like making, CC feel like he's being taken care of. He's like gotten nothing but like the shit end of the deal for literally everything, right? Between his treatment from the US, treatment from Israel, right? His people like don't really approve of him anymore, right? He's no Mubarak, but like, he's not exactly that popular. You know what I mean? Am I making
I,
sense?
I I think I think Mubarak. Look, I might be. You might think you just love dictators. No, I don't love dictators, but
No, hey, I wasn't making any
look,
accusations.
look, 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 look. Mubarak, as a leader, I mean, people were living like much better life under Mubarak than under Sisi by
Right.
any means. You know, it's just people now are basically extreme poverty in Egypt.
Right.
Unemployment rates is the highest,
Right.
and the Egyptian role under Mubarak. I mean, Egypt. You can't say like Egypt now is pretty much isolated. They don't have a regional role, and Egypt used to have a regional role for decades. You know, and I think they got bought up by the UAE. UAE buys so much land from Egypt. Saudi Arabia bought like 3 islands from Egypt, and people went crazy. Come on, this is our land. How you sell it to the Saudis? But he wants the money. So
Yeah.
people are fed up with him at some point. Yeah, and I think Mubarak. I mean, if you tell people in Egypt like, would you go back to Mubarak? 100% they will tell you. Let's go back to Mubarak. Same thing with
Bring
Libya and
back the
Gaddafi.
secret police. Fuck it. I don't care anymore.
No, I'm talking about the living conditions.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not talking
I
about
know. I'm
personal
being
freedoms and things like
extreme,
that.
extreme human rights violations. 100%. You know,
no.
the
I know.
prison,
I know. I was
the prison
making a
system. Yeah,
very, very bad joke.
yeah.
Just to maybe like bring things back over to the situation in Palestine as
Hmm.
well. Like I guess one thing that would be kind of interesting is because like over here we're like I think we're constantly trying to like figure out like what is the best way forward to like fix this situation. Like we have this war, like, and I know that like you used a word that like things seem kind of like hopeless right now, but like what do you think like the step by step kind of like way that like if you had like a step by step situation of like how this all turns around and that you can like Palestinian people can live on their land in peace and with sovereignty. Like, what are the steps from like right now?
I'll
What?
tell you. I'll tell you the
Okay, yeah,
steps. I
there you
mean,
go. Yeah,
the first step, you got to improve the lives of Palestinians. I mean, if you ask yourself, where does radicalization come from?
right.
Poverty, stagnation, depression. People
Lack of
people
freedom.
have no other choice. I mean, nobody. Do you think people like carrying a gun? They are happy about it, bro. People just want to live, but they have no choice at this point. I think if you try to improve the lives of Palestinians up to a point where Palestinians at least they are more accepting of let's say Israelis, and a de-radicalization in the educational system in Israel, because they teach those kids to hate Arabs, and say like Arab slang words, just like you could compare it to like to the Jim Crow South, when people like saying like slangs, black people and stuff,
Yeah.
and people are segregated. But the whole thing, it needs to there needs to be a radicalization up to a point, and you need to improve at least the lives of Palestinians, so that they have another hope, another option, not to carry a gun, and go kill Jews, or do any violent act,
Do,
because
do you,
violence comes from stagnation. And
right. And let's kind of make that a little bit broader than just Israel and Palestine. Can you
Mhm.
see similarities and parallels between Palestinian radicals, whether it's Hamas or whatever it might be? Let's just say Hamas. And, for example, the Taliban, like, because, right now we're looking at a situation, and I don't mean like ideologically exactly, but I'm just saying in the term of insurgency, right? Because my entire life living in the United States, you had this thing called the war on terror. And what I was told my entire life growing up was, we're fighting the Taliban. We're fighting the Taliban. We have to destroy the Taliban. And then 20 years later, they're like, I don't know. We never really figured it out. We just let them have the country. Like, and it kind of shows it's like, you can't just bomb an insurgency away. You can't just de-radicalize people with bombs. And ultimately, in a place like in Afghanistan, they had to eventually just accept, like, hey, no matter how many bombs we dropped or how long we occupy this place, the people have never stopped being radicalized. And like it's also kind of similar in like Colombia. If you know, like the FARC in Colombia, it's a guerrilla insurgency movement from the 1960s, and the United States and Colombia have tried to ruthlessly destroy it completely. And now they had to sign a peace agreement with them in 2016. Like, can you and like you probably have deeper knowledge than I do with even other like forms of Middle Eastern radicalism and things like that. Like, do you see like similarities in all of those?
Well, I don't think I see like much similarity, but other than ideology,
Right.
both are Islamist, organizations.
Right.
But well, if I was an American, and people tell me we're fighting the Taliban, I will just tell them you're fighting the wrong group. You should be fighting Al Qaeda. You're not fighting the Taliban. I mean Al Qaeda, but Al Qaeda is an American creation.
Yeah.
Al Qaeda was created by the Americans. Well, one distinction I always make for people who don't know, Al Qaeda are not Afghanis. Al Qaeda are Arab
Saudis, right?
Afghanis.
Oh, okay.
Saudis, Egyptians, maybe
Yeah.
Palestinians, maybe Jordanians were at the time people. That's why I'm telling you, like Saudi Arabia is the second most important
Yeah.
ally for the United States, because when they want to create a project or something, they go to the Saudis. The Saudis are leading the Islamic world.
Right.
Bro, I can issue a fatwa. I can tell people go perform jihad or armed resistance against those Soviets
It was
in
the
in
Saudis.
Afghanistan.
The Saudis were the ones funding the madrasas in Pakistan that like the people like fleeing from Afghanistan were going to, and that's where you had all the other people like from all those surrounding regions going to these madrasas in like northern Pakistan, and out of that came Al Qaeda. They're basically like the kind of weird adopted children of the Taliban.
Remember my previous point about smashing or destroying the Arab national secularism?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
basically, most of the job were done by the Saudis. The Saudis were sending people. To do what you just called the madrasa or the school or something,
Yeah,
a religious school.
yeah.
Basically, spreading Wahhabism, spreading radical ideologies.
Yeah.
And Al Qaeda, when Al Qaeda was created, the Americans went to the Saudis and went to those Arab countries. We'll pay you. Just go fight those Soviets. You're
Right.
basically helping another Muslim country to get rid of an occupation by the Soviets. So people were getting paid to go to those, and there are people who
Right.
are just stupid. They're just. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They are
Very
just
misled. Very
so,
misled.
yeah. So fanatical, and they go just fight with Al Qaeda, and they think Ayman al-Zawahiri is a god. Ayman al-Zawahiri.
That's shirk. That's shirk.
Yeah. Yeah, so the whole thing, you just go in the army of of Al Qaeda, of Ayman Zawahiri, of all these people. These are noble people. And Saudi Arabia, by the way, sent people to fight the Soviets in Afghanistan, and sent people to fight the Soviets or the Russia in Grozny, in Chechnya.
Yeah, that's right.
Chechnya, there are many jihadist Saudis, who fought against against Russia in Chechnya's attempt to separate from the
Yeah.
Federation. All thing, not only Chechnya, you have Dagestan, you have all these regions. So
Where all the MMA fighters are from. All the good ones.
yeah, all the good ones.
Well, no,
All the
the
rest of-
reigning champ right now is
Yeah.
from Palestine.
Yeah.
Bilal Muhammad, yeah. How do you feel? That's a great. How do you feel? Was there anything like within like your area, your neighborhood, or your friends group when Bilal
Well,
Muhammad won the
Yeah.
light
Well,
welterweight championship?
Well, I can tell you this. I got in a PUBG lobby,
Yeah.
battleground, and people tell me I have this Lebanese friend. He's just so funny. So he just tell me, "What? Congratulations, you got a new champion." And I said yes, but he said, "Oh, bro, don't take offense. He's just so boring, bro."
I don't think he's that boring. I don't think he's that boring. I thought he had a very exciting fight.
Why? Is it because he didn't say put a gun in my hand and send me to war?
Bro, he told me, bro, I told him, bro, we are on the same side. We're just Arabs. At least cheer for him, and maybe you can close your eyes and you just be happy about. Don't watch the fight, but just if you don't like his style, I get why people don't like his style, but I don't want to turn this into an MMA conversation.
Right,
But
yeah.
yeah, there are people.
No, I think
got
Pat would like
He
that.
will.
Pat's
Pat
down.
will
Pat's
do
down.
that. Pat will.
This is gonna be the first episode of his MMA podcast right now.
Yeah.
I-
So I think many people knew about him. Well, basically, many people here, unless those who are very interested in MMA and do MMA. People who do MMA for long, they know these fighters. But most people got exposed to the fighters in general from the Dagestanis, Habib,
Yeah.
Islam, all these people.
Mhm.
So when Bilal became a champion, there was good coverage and people knew about him, and people were happy. But Palestine th- as a nation, we're more like interested in soccer and
Yeah,
football than in MMA. But
Mhm.
you got people like who love MMA. Maybe just like me. I don't know how many people love MMA here.
We're talking to the only MMA fan in all of the West Bank.
No. There are many. There are many, but not as much. Soccer is, or I'm trying to say soccer, not to offend the American one here. How many are you all American?
Don't,
It's
don't worry
football,
about
yeah.
don't worry about the fucking
Yeah.
Americans. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like to be fair, like
We have a Palestinian in the besieged West Bank that's like, hold on, wait,
It's football.
let me be careful of American sentiment right now.
I don't want to
let me be
offend them.
let me be delicate to American
Their
sentiment.
government is only funding the genocide of my
Genocide of
people.
people.
So here we call it football, but never mind. Never mind.
What is it like for someone that's from outside of the country to visit the West Bank? Is it difficult?
From outside the country to visit the West Bank, you
Like
you have to.
if I wanted to go to the West Bank, if I wanted to make
What's your passport? It depends on your passport.
American.
American.
No, bro,
Come on,
you're
why?
you're
That
you're the
could
same
get me
team.
anywhere, man. I'm an American.
yeah, that's supposed to be the gold ticket. They wouldn't let me in.
Of course, I mean, unless you say like you say like some crazy shit like free Palestine or something, and people
Shit, I gotta change the title of this fucking thing. Hang on.
No, but I'm just saying, like,
Don't
I
check
want to
any
know,
of
like,
my media
I
stuff.
want, and I'm someone who's online as well. Like, my presence is pretty, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I've actually been a pretty outspoken, advocate for Palestinian rights and sovereignty and things like that. Do you think because I have to fly into Israel, right? It's the only way that I could get to the West Bank.
No, there is another way through Jordan. There is a bridge. We call it the Jordanian bridge.
Wait, but is it monitored by Israel the same way as the Rafah crossing is?
No, I'll tell you because when I used to go to Jordan, by the way, my father has a Jordanian passport, so I have Jordanian passport,
Nice.
Right.
but I have Palestinian identity. I was born here.
Of course.
But when I go to Jordan, I have to go like I'm talking about for a Palestinian.
Right.
Right.
Then I'll come to your case. But
Yes.
for a Palestinian to go into Jordan, bro, it's very painful journey. You need first to get a permission from Israel to exit the West Bank. That's first. You get a
Right.
permission, a paper. Then you pay like tax money for the PA that you are exiting the West Bank.
Yeah.
Then you have three stages. You have the Palestinian stage, the Palestinian customs. You just finish with the Palestinian customs. Then you go. I don't know. It's a miracle. I don't know who put Israel here. Israel created a checkpoint between Palestine and Jordan. So we have like Palestinian,
It's a miracle.
Palestinian, Jordanian. Yeah, bro, you just finished with the
There we go.
customs. You just finished with the customs. Then the Israeli IDF is in front of you.
Then they get to like cavity search you, right? Like
Yeah, they search you. They stamp your. You show them the permit that you bought a permit. You bought a permit to exit. The West Bank, and
Right.
and that's the only use for this paper. But we just pay money for it here, and you just show it to the Israeli soldier. Then the Israeli soldier will let you go. Then you have the Jordanian customs. So you have to go three stages. After you finish with the Jordanian customs, you're in Jordan. but you can't go before passing an Israeli checkpoint.
So I have
Between
to get an Israeli stamp in my passport.
well, 100%. I think you'll have to
That's what
because
that's what
I
an
was-
occupied territory means. You know what
I was
mean?
hoping I was hoping you were going to tell us a cheat code to be able to get around.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's a cheat code that
No,
just
no,
like
I mean-
normal everyday people have access to.
Okay, so let's talk about it
if
American.
you go,
Let's say
if you
right
go,
now-
if
Okay,
you
go
go through Ben Gurion as American, like
Okay.
Ben Gurion airport, you go to Tel Aviv.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can go to you can go to Israel, and from Israel you can go to the West Bank. You also have to go through maybe checking or
but
something.
would they
Maybe
allow
people will
you?
ask you.
What if-
Oh, of course, they will
The
allow
fact
you. I
that
mean,
I'm Muslim isn't going to be a problem, right?
not really. If you show them the American passport,
All right,
I
they'll
mean,
just assume I'm
don't-
something else anyways. Don't tell them I'm Muslim.
don't shout Allahu Akbar or something.
La ilaha illallah.
So you think that like if I wanted to come and I wanted to visit the West Bank, even though I'm like a very outspoken pro-Palestinian person online,
Oh, I don't know about that, to be honest. I don't know
Oh,
about
great.
that.
Yeah, especially now.
and what
I
if I
don't
had
know.
like a bunch of camera equipment with me and
It's like-
and stuff like that?
Bro.
We're cooked. We're cooked.
You don't
I
think,
don't
you
know.
don't think it would work out?
I don't know about the pro-Palestine thing, because there were people like trying to get into Gaza, and journalists, like independent journalists,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they were kicked out by the Israelis. I don't know about the pro-Palestine talk and the your appearance on social media or something. Maybe they will follow you. Maybe you got a Mossad agent in the chat right now. So I don't know. Say hi. I'm Israeli.
I think we're small
I'm
enough. They
invited
just have
high, bro.
like an FBI partnership monitoring the
Hello,
normal
hello,
FBI
Habibi.
thing.
Yeah, I don't
They
know.
just send them reports.
I want to be.
I just don't want to get you arrested or something.
No, that's not our first
I mean, it'd be
time.
good
but-
content, right? It'd be good content for us.
So yeah, I also
Pat
want to be
gets arrested.
respectful. I know it's quite late for you. Do you need to go, or are you good to keep hanging
No,
out?
I'm here with you till morning. Just ask me anything.
Okay, all right. Well,
I
we
love
got
this
about
guy. I love
we got,
this man.
I was curious because like we've talked a lot about the broader situation of Palestine, of Israel, of the Middle East, of the war, of these things, but like just kind of like as you as like a person, like what is like your like personal political philosophy that like not even like concerned with like the environment around you, like what is your kind of like political persuasion?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm just. It depends on my mood, bro. Bro. Sometimes people. I go in these spaces on Twitter, but for
Yeah.
example, when I
Oh,
was
God.
at the,
Oh God,
Oh.
you said Twitter.
yeah, on X. So it was the same. It's the same, bro. It's very toxic at
it's
this point.
Twitter. It's
so
Twitter.
toxic.
Let's stop. Let's just stop right there. It's not X.
Our,
It's
Yeah.
Twitter.
our editorial line on Subversive History is that it's Twitter.
It's Twitter.
Yeah.
All right.
I always say Twitter.
Yeah. The thing is, you. Well, I forgot the questions, bro.
Oh, I was just kind of asking like what your personal political persuasion is.
Yeah. At the
Yeah.
university, when I was at the university, I used to go more to the PFLP side, but not
Right.
really. At the university you have we have something unique here. Like at the university, we don't have like you have like organizations, or maybe I don't know about the universities abroad, but here most like university, let's say concentrations, or let's say students coming together is political. You
Yeah.
have people like Hamas.
Same here.
Same? Same? Yeah. There are political
much.
movements or something like this. I was more in line with the PFLP and the,
Like more of a
It's,
Marxist like outlook of things at that point.
I mean, it's funny. No, bro, I was just there for the girls and for the girls
Hell
killing
yeah.
you.
Oh, good old Barack
Yeah,
Obama. Good old, good old Barack
They-
Obama strategy.
I was, bro, I was pretty much in love with the term comrade. This was for the first time. But people telling me, "Oh, hey, comrade, how are you doing, bro?" And like terms like comprador and all these Soviet, communist terms, or and people bringing up, people people bringing up Karl Marx and Lenin and Trotsky, and yeah, it was fun, but it was, I wasn't like pretty much aligned with any political point of view, you know. Well, I don't know. Sometimes I'm anarchist. Sometimes sometimes when people like go harsh on theocracy, I try to, just for the sake of it, bro. Slow down.
Dude, we love you,
Sometimes I'm
man.
sick.
I want you to know
Sometimes I'm
that
sick.
you are perfect for us. You are perfect to us. Don't change a thing.
Thank you, bro. So the thing is, I don't know. I don't have like a political philosophy, to be honest. Uh, I pretty much at this point I pretty much hate all governments. You know, I hate everything. You know, all governments, organizations. I'm not an
Right.
anarchist per se, but yeah. I mean,
Same.
let's try it. We tried everything. Just try it.
I think that, like, I don't I wouldn't say I hate all governments. I'm not going to try and even speak for Pat, but like I would say that like having the kind of conversations that I've had with Pat, right, have really like changed me in terms of like viewing all governments as just another government, in the same way that like all countries are just like another country with like their own like weird quirks and problems and their own assets and defects. You know what I mean? That like, and like in terms of like, faith or religion or whatever, I took my shahada, I converted to Islam, right? I don't agree with everything that every other Muslim, maybe the vast majority would believe in or say, but like, that's my relationship between me and God subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't really like mind what other people have to say. You know what I mean? You understand what I'm getting at?
Mhm.
So
Do
like
you
that's
identify as Muslim?
Me? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Muslim. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
can you teach me Arabic?
Well, I'm already a teacher. Before this, I mean, behind this is a board, a whiteboard. I do
Behind
Uh,
that
teach Arabic
American Eagle
for
outfitter.
foreigners. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what do you teach?
I teach Arabic. I taught French as well for some time.
Don't need that. Teach me
Mm.
Please teach me
There you
Arabic.
go, Johnny. You found your
No, no,
Arabic teacher.
I taught Arabic to non-native speakers for a while, but
Is that
yeah,
your
it's been.
profession?
Well, my profession was a translator before the war, but the war broke out, many layouts, and nobody had any jobs. You know, that's why actually I started streaming. I started streaming this year because of the war. Because people have
Oh
nothing.
wow.
I can either go to Valorant and fight all these people, all these people spewing the most stupid shit
Dude,
in the voice chat, or
I
just I go in a stream and tell people about the situation. I try to look. I have good knowledge about.
Mhm.
you
I
definitely
mean,
do.
this is, this
Absolutely.
is not no, this is not like my first encounter with politics. I read like Edward Said. I read.
Yep.
Ooh.
Uh, I, I read even counterterrorism studies and stuff, and I'm doing like a series right now about counterterrorism studies, Taliban, Al Qaeda, Boko Haram, all these groups, and yeah. So it's not my first encounter with politics, but I just thought I would stream. I have nothing to do. I have nothing to lose. I
Can
just
I
stream.
can I ask your opinion
And
on Hassan Hanafi? Have you checked him out? Oh fuck, he knows him. Holy shit. Yo.
Hassan Hanafi.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know
Al
who this is.
Istiqab. I'm probably mispronouncing crap like all over the place, but the fact that like
I'll be right back.
Occidentalism, right? He's like the
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I have like strong opinions on Qutb as well. If you know. Yeah. Okay. We might get arrested right now by the Egyptian police. Well, I have a few things to say there, but pretty much, there was a podcast in Arabic called Al Marsad, and this podcast I've been following like for a long time. Before it was a podcast, it was like a journal, on
Right.
the internet. and the journal used to discuss like political topics
Right.
that might interest me, especially at the time. I was in university, and before I was at university, my dream was going to study in Damascus. In Damascus University.
Whoa.
Yeah, yeah. And 2011,
What
what
a
happened.
year to visit Damascus.
No, I didn't. I didn't. I couldn't actually. I would
Yeah.
have loved. I would love to. Now,
Yeah.
now I can visit it. I can visit it if I want. But I would have loved to visit Damascus in 2010, 11, because I wanted to study there.
Yeah.
Well, basically, I wanted to study like journalism or Arabic or something. I wasn't thinking
Right.
about languages,
Right.
but you know, all hell broke loose, as
Yeah.
the
Your
Americans
your
say,
aspiring Al
in Europe.
Jazeera like career went up in flames.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or
No,
sarin gas.
I was studying for the period. It's called secondary school before you
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
university.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get your score and stuff. And while I was studying, I was looking at Syria because my father used to visit Damascus. My
Yeah.
father used my father used to work as a truck driver between the Kuwaiti Iraqi border. At the time of Saddam, he visited Baghdad. He visited.
Wow.
He had, yeah. He had a much more interesting life, and he went to Damascus. When I asked him about Damascus, I used to ask him about Damascus. He told me it's the most beautiful city ever. It's heaven on earth. Like Damascus was.
Yeah.
I mean, my father was holding Damascus very dearly. And I said, okay, let's go study in Damascus. I was in love with Syria. Then the
Yeah.
Syrian crisis happened,
Yeah.
and at the time of Syrian crisis, to be honest, nobody was covering Syria like in terms of English media.
Well, I mean, they were covering
And
it, but they weren't explaining anything.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe one person was covering it. George Galloway.
Yeah.
George Galloway was covering it. You know, with he's in pro Assad,
Yeah.
yeah. You could have your opinion on it, but yeah, I'm trying to be even handed with all people. I'm just people
Don't
on
worry
the
about being even-handed here. It's okay. You're amongst
yeah,
friends. No one's gonna
yeah,
hate
yeah,
on it.
Yeah, you're
yeah, yeah,
amongst the psychopathic community.
yeah, yeah. But the thing is, Syria turned into a battlefield. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
many people lost their lives, and I was planning on studying in Syria after my secondary school, and yeah, this dream was shattered away. I'm just looking you know at Al Jazeera, reporting killings here, killing in Daraa, in Damascus, in Halab,
Yeah.
everywhere. The whole thing is a mess. Then you find the uprising of jihadist organizations, Islamist organizations. Well, even to be honest, Marxist organizations. The PFLP, for example, fought alongside Assad in Syria. But you have multiple militias fighting, multiple groups fighting, and the
Yeah.
people of Syria are just helpless. They are stuck. Basically, Syria decimated. The whole cities were destroyed, and I'm looking at it, and it's just like watching. The dream of visiting Damascus. I just forgot about it. And studying there, bro. That was my dream to study in Damascus. So I forgot about it, and yeah, but what pretty much make me more, let's say, read more about politics and about
Right.
these people fighting at the time. And I mentioned Nizar Banat. If people know it, Nizar Banat, a Palestinian activist. He was a pro Arab secular nationalism, and he basically got killed by the PA authority.
Yeah.
The PA authority here killed him while trying to arrest him. They beat him up, and he went to the hospital. His health degenerated. Then he was announced dead, and a huge protest against the PA authority here happened, and it was suppressed. So yeah, I mean, all of these things happened, and made me think about the world around. Basically, in the Middle East, you can't escape politics. I try. You can't, bro. You can't. Maybe in America, you just love some kind of sport, and you're just interested in this
They say
kind of
it's
music, and yeah, you don't care. You don't care about Kamala Harris or Donald J. Trump. No, nobody cares. But I mean, here you can't because
Yeah.
it affects you every day.
yeah.
Yeah.
They say it's a
Yeah.
privilege to be apolitical. They say being apolitical is a privilege. Like most of the
Yeah, yeah,
world
yeah.
doesn't even have the option to be
You
apolitical.
can't. You
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
here. And I'm not talking about Palestine, like Syria, Jordan,
Of course, yeah.
Iraq. You can't. You literally can't.
Yeah.
What else do I got on here? What would you say? So, like, can you tell us a little bit about like your childhood? I know that you mentioned a little bit about it, like that you saw like tanks and things like that before you saw certain kinds of cars and stuff. But just can you like instead of like just that specific detail, like what was like your childhood like growing up? Like, can you explain that to us? And I guess what I'm asking that is like, I guess I'm asking this from like an American perspective. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is like the childhood of a child in the West Bank when you were growing up?
Well, okay. When I was growing up, I'll mention a story by
Yeah.
there was someone called Pierre or Pierre. He's a French activist. Came here and he visited Israel and visited Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat with him. We were chatting in French, and he tells me, "How much do you pay for the university?" And I tell him this much. He says, "That's very expensive." And he said, he just said this like normal. What are your plans for the summer holiday? And then my friend next to me said, "Oh, we're going to work." I said, "What the fuck?" He said, "Look, you're going to work. You've just finished like school. You finish school here. You go to work. Well, basically, you try to make a living. You're under occupation. You don't have an economy. Basically, you're just there is no independent economy where you are provided like let's say your daily." Where you can meet the needs, without working. If everybody like child labor was very popular at the time. I was in my childhood. People worked. I worked. I helped a mechanic. I think it helps. It helps to work
You
in
were
the
a
summer.
child mechanic?
No, I mean, yeah, it was assistant. Now I
You
don't
got
know.
those little
I don't know
arms that can
anything.
get into the places that an
Get in
adult
there,
arm can't.
little hands.
Oh,
Get
I
in there,
dropped
nice
it.
and tight
Oh,
spot.
I
No,
dropped.
no.
What do they call it?
I,
It's like they drop it in the engine bay all the time.
bro, I was just assisting. And if you ask me anything about cars, bro, I mean, my knowledge is very limited. I just know here in the Middle East, we know Toyota is reliable
Toyota Hilux,
Yeah.
'1.
That's the
because
one
we
thing we know. That's what we know.
because 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 most militias use it.
Yeah.
You just
You could
it's
drive right over an IED with that thing. You can flip that sucker over. It'll keep running, baby, for at least another 30 years.
I talked about the Libyan Chad war, if you know.
Yeah.
It was called at the time of Gaddafi. It was called
Hilux.
the Toyota War. If you search
Where's
the
that?
Toyota War on Twitter, yeah, Toyota was basically the main battle tank. You just use Toyota. You put a rifle or something, and yeah, you have a paramilitary group right now.
Hang on. It wasn't just rifles. Dude, they mounted like
Yeah,
rocket pods from
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
helicopters on the backs of these things. Like
yeah, yeah.
they had
Hezbollah
like
fighters now are planting.
they had like air to ground like artillery mounted on the backs in the beds of these trucks.
Yeah, rocket launchers. Yeah. It is just the main battle tank here. That's that's as far as I know about cars. That's we know. That's what we know.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah. It's well, it's crazy that the Chad Libyan war. It's crazy. Yeah. It has many stages, but yeah. That Toyota, it basically was like the perfect commercial for Toyota, you know.
Right.
I'm pretty sure Toyota did release a commercial at some point, like using footage of them being used as like, you know, improvised
no way.
military. I have to find it again one day, but I'm pretty sure they did try to make a commercial. They pulled it like immediately, or like I forget, like, because it was extremely controversial. But they were like, you know, the #1 used truck in the world for a reason or something like that.
They're like, hey, we're not saying we endorse it, but look at it go. All I'm saying is, like, you know what I mean?
We're not taking any sides in any of these conflicts. We're just saying everyone comes to
We
us.
can send it, all right?
I don't know what your plans are, but if you know,
You need a truck.
yeah,
I mean, Toyota is Japanese, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you see like, that Japan raised their own military budget spending? I think by
Oh, yeah.
25%.
They're preparing for Nanking 2. You know, problematic boogaloo.
Yeah, I think they reached a point that relying on Americans isn't enough. You know?
Dude, they have the full blessing of the U.S. The U.S.
They-
think is.
I know.
Yeah, like,
And I think without some people like try to paint like the Japanese like as those people, you know, who created this from out of the rubbles, and you know, there were nukes, but actually the Americans allowed them to do so. I mean, the Americans didn't want them. I mean, without the American support, they wouldn't. I mean, they wouldn't even recover. You know,
yeah.
Japan was basically, you know, how to say, an empire. You know, and so it got you know,
got too
sized
big for
to-
its britches and started stepping on things that the U.S. wanted
Yeah,
for
yeah.
itself. But like,
and now it's pretty much isolated. The same I say about Egypt. It has like a bigger regional role. If you see all previous wars and all, you know, everything that happens in the Middle East, you see the Egyptians. You know, the Egyptians have a bigger role, but now it pretty much pretty much, you know, contained. That's the containment, and but they wouldn't allow them.
Without the U.S. pretty much giving patents and, like, you know, budgets to companies set up in Japan, Singapore,
And actually allowing them to have land reform as
Right.
well. The same type of land reform they refused to allow Guatemalans to have, or
Right.
really any, like, you know, left of center organization in the global South that wanted to kind of reorganize the colonial arrangements of their agriculture. But after World War II, they absolutely not only allowed but advised Japan to do a full government-sponsored land reform program.
Yeah, they just use whiteout for the first time in history over the Guatemala on the paper, and just scribbled in Japan,
yeah.
right? And so without that, like, China would not have had any real competition in that region, and that's the whole reason why we were doing it, is because we needed these other countries to just artificially get kind of like boosted on steroids, like economic steroids, in order to ensure that, like, Japan maintained, like, that China maintained a very labor intensive form of, like, you know, productive development.
And speaking about containment, we talked about the containment of the Soviet Union, and the containment of Egypt. There is now a campaign of containment of China.
Yeah.
I mean, do you notice the American Indian
Taiwan,
relations?
Japan, South Korea.
I mean, India, they are propping up India. They are inflating India so much. They are moving manufacturing. Many companies. I read an article in the Economics.
They went over to India and they said, "Modi, do you hate Muslims?" And he's like, "Of course I hate Muslims." And they're like, "All right, here's a checkbook. What do you need? We can make this work, India."
He's a big friend of Netanyahu.
Israel.
By the
Yeah,
way.
that's what I'm saying.
And they are using India to make India so big, so that it can contain.
How much bigger can it get?
The rate? No. I mean, in terms of economy and manufacturing. I know. So that it can contain the the growth rate of China.
Yeah.
That's now the American policy, and I hear in the Arabic media like analysts talk about it, and how and why this Indian, let's say, uh, Indian U.S. fast rapprochement happened. Like now you see like high profile relations between India and the U.S. U.S. wasn't like pretty much invested in India,
Yeah.
but now yeah,
Let me
you start raising questions about the relation.
let me ask you this, because you just brought up China, right? Recently, China, I think, I forget on what venue, but they kind of
Brokered,
Oh,
they kind of
the
yeah.
Beijing Treaty, yeah.
Well, yeah, well, they kind of said that they wanted to kind of play a part in the settlement of issues
they've
in
been trying for so long, but
how would you, as a Palestinian, how would you feel about China playing an intermediate role in the ceasefire and the current issues in Palestine?
it's a positive step, but the deal is just for the optics. I'm
Yeah, I
telling you,
can do.
it's not like a real deal. But one thing this actually makes, let's say, makes a change on how like foreign policy, let's say, is administrated in this region.
Right.
The Americans tried to block every Russian involvement in the Middle East. They were involved in Syria, yeah,
Syria.
but
Yep.
that was like, they reach one point that is just status quo, and we cannot remove Hmimim from Syria and the Russian military. But China was trying, and they were blocked every time. Actually, they blocked what is called the latest Russian fighter.
Oh, the Russian
Fighter
fighter,
jet.
the MiG.
The Su no
Oh,
the
the
Sukhoi
Soyuz.
37 or so. Oh, I forgot. So the Egyptians, made an agreement with Putin. This is I think last year or something.
Sukhoi Su-57.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they wanted to buy it, and the Americans threatened the Egyptians with the military aid. You can't. You just can't. You can't because this is maybe the most advanced, let's say, fighter jet alongside the F-22, which is very very much
It's a
secret.
piece of shit. It's a piece of shit. All right.
No.
Every American fighter plane except for the F-16 is a piece of shit. All right. That's it. We struck gold with the F-16 and the A-10 Warthog. Haven't needed to update shit since. F-23, dog shit. The fucking Joint Strike Fighter, it's like a plane designed not to fly. All right. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Take my word for it.
Okay, so the F-22 is kind of a secret fighter jet. It's not for sale. They are selling F-35, they are selling F-16 and F-15I, but the F-22 is like a piece that Americans don't want share. Actually, it reached the Middle East with the aircraft carriers right now. There's a huge military concentration in the Mediterranean Sea. In the Red Sea is already, the British Royal Navy is there, the Americans is there, at the pretext, of maintaining the
Thank you,
the safety
Ross.
of the navigation. But the thing is, the F-22 is like I think it's the equivalent of the latest Russian fighter jet, and the Egyptians said we want to buy it. We just made a deal with Russia, basically made a deal, like, according to Egyptian media. Then the Americans said no.
Yeah.
You stop right here.
Well,
You can't buy very advanced weaponry, and you're just a neighboring country to Israel. That's
let me also tell you why they don't want that. So for every country that buys like an F-22 or an F-23 or F-15s, F-16s, all this other shit, right? If it's American, right, that means that country now needs to employ American maintenance workers to maintain those aircraft, right?
Yeah.
You want to buy armor, you want to arm that thing, you want, like, bombs to go that, like, are able to go into that thing and drop them on whoever. Well, you're going to want to have to buy
Gotta pay
them.
for the subscription service.
Exactly. You're going to want the subscription service to the US to be able to buy the bombs, and then have the people that are licensed to mount it. And like, forget us even trying to teach, your country's military about how to maintain it or anything. Like, we can't have you going rogue on us. So we're just not going to allow that to happen. So
yeah, and I heard some things about like deploying a password or
let me
I don't
tell
know.
you this. The F-22 couldn't shoot down a Chinese weather balloon, dude. It missed. All right?
The F-22?
Yes. Do you remember like a year or two ago that like
I
the
thought
Chinese...
they don't use it. I thought they don't use it.
No, dude, they used an F-22 and it missed the first time around. They needed a second pass in order to hit a slow-moving weather balloon. Or I'm sorry, spy balloon.
Going around a second time. This Chinese technology is very evasive.
This invasive.
They put an invasive AI into their balloon technology. We're gonna have to take a second pass here.
The fentanyl balloon took evasive measures against the $1 million missile I fired at it. I'm gonna have to take another shot. But
guys, 1 minute. I'll be back. Just
of course,
1 minute.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
Sup?
how's it been going? We good with everything?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Phil, but I feel like me and Pat have been like, just rattling off a bunch of stuff, and we didn't.
No, it's been good.
Do you have any questions? Do you want us to give you some time if we haven't been considerate to you?
Well, I mean, I've been just letting y'all have the space. If I want to speak up or make noise, I totally am capable. So don't feel like you're cutting me out.
All right. All right. So I'll think about that next time I feel like being fucking considerate. All right, dude. I'll just be like, oh, you know what? Yeah.
What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude.
He can shout over me if he wants to be heard.
Philbo's just sitting there holding a cat. Just like,
I love that cat.
Yeah, she's pretty great. Yeah. She's pretty great, except he kept jumping up, and I was afraid she was gonna step on, and she was gonna trigger.
This country is busted.
In the middle of him talking, I would have felt bad.
I don't mean to derail, and I forget how I came to this from earlier in the panel, but I looked up a book I had to read in university called American Counterinsurgency, and the author, who was also professor of the class, is now chair of anthropology. I had the class in 2009 or so he had black hair then. The book was very critical of power. That sounds interesting. Vika doesn't want to dox the cat, but she asked what the name of the cat is.
Oh, the cat's name is Nami.
Nami.
Like the One Piece character.
Oh, nice.
Dog. You're a One Piece fan?
Yeah, we like One Piece in this house.
I didn't know, dude. I enjoy One Piece. If anything, I want to finish the manga at some point. I know it's probably still.
I'm a little worried when you said that. He was like,
We like One Piece in this house.
We've watched it, I don't know.
Bro, those Iranian drones are never arrive, bro. People here every day. People here every day, I swear, at the West Bank.
God, okay, so let me ask you this, right?
They stay up late to see the Iranian drones, to go to go out and see the Iranian drones, like last time.
Yeah.
And they just sleep.
Seriously?
Is there
last time I was sleeping when the attack happened in April, and my brother said, "What the fuck? You missed the drones, bro. I took pictures of them. I took a video of them."
So
bro,
what is
I was sleeping already.
This might be a very sensitive question for you, but I can't help but be curious about this, and it has to do with like the current go
ahead.
There's a lot going on where they say, hey, Israel, Iran. There's like a lot tension. They're on the brink of war. As someone that's in the occupied West Bank, like how do you view that development? Because on one hand, it must be terrifying because you live adjacent to what could be, more of a war zone. But on the other hand, you know what I mean? Like this could be a factor that does maybe ultimately lead to the weakening of Israel and maybe the unoccupation of your homeland. So like, what is like the general like vibe of like somebody in the West Bank to this situation as
well? There are two camps when it comes to Iran in the Arab world, in the Palestinian world as well. There are people who just
like
so anti
liberators or something like that, and then
no, there are people who are just so anti-Iran no matter what,
Okay.
You know, the Iranian.
Is it
the
because they're
Iranian.
Shia? Is it because they're Shia?
Well, that's one part of it, but another part of it is not just the sectarianism. The Iranian interference in Syria, like, made them more enemies.
Yeah.
You know, Iran interfered with Syria alongside Russia and Hezbollah and the regime. So some people who are not on the side of the regime, on the other side, they view Iran as this evil monster that will never do any good.
Right.
Well, there are some people. Look, the Palestinian people, just like people in the Middle East, they're just driven by emotions when it comes to this. People see in Iran, like in these drones, they know that they will never like go into full scale war, because it's not like it's not in the interest of Iran. Iran at the end of 2025 will reach supposedly will reach nuclear proliferation, and they will have a nuclear weapon. So they have plans for the future. So they need to develop their nuclear deterrence, and I don't think it's in the interest of Iran to go into war with Israel. But people here, as I said, the loss of hope, will make you cheer for anything. People just waiting for a glimpse of hope. So when they see like the Iranian drones, like when Saddam attacked Israel with like 39 rockets or Scud rockets, Soviet rockets that were modified by the Iraqi military, and they attacked Israel. People went in the streets and saw the rockets, and they cheered, because people are just in a state of desperation. They just need any glimpse of hope, that something might change, that an outside player might change. One thing I need to mention: many people like draw a comparison between the apartheid here and the apartheid of South Africa.
Right.
But South Africa, just like any nation, they had an outside player. You need somebody in the outside. Like the outside player in the South African case is Cuba. Cuba went to Angola. The Cuban fighters actually rebuilt the apartheid regime from expanding to from Angola at the time. But
And
here in
Namibia.
Palestine, they don't. They don't have that outside player. Like the Arab countries are not willing to go into war.
Cuba might be. No, I'm just kidding. You know what I mean? Like, have we called Cuba? Have we called Cuba?
Have you tried calling Cuba?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, the Cubans had enough with the
sanctions. They had a tough time. Cuba, when they were actually able to do that, is a way to
by the way, for people who don't know, when the PFLP was doing these plane hijacking,
right.
There were people from Cuba. There were people from North Korea. Some people don't know that there are North Korean martyrs for Palestine. Do you know that?
I do, actually.
I believe it.
Yeah. Okay. So
I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't
know that. That's amazing.
So you got North Korean. You got all those, let's say, communist, let's say anti-imperialist organizations, and from around the world. They basically, Wadi Haddad, the leader of the PFLP at the time, basically made the PFLP more of a global organization. Like, it's more of a regional, global organization. So they supported like people in Cuba. They supported people outside. They supported like the Irish resistance.
Right.
They supported they supported Gaddafi, because Gaddafi had like this communism thing going.
What is it? Jalahiriya or
socialist?
Butchered the hell out of that.
Yeah. So you have these, you have global like operations and stuff, but people just see in these like Iran involvement or any other player involvement in the region. They just see it's just a glimpse of hope. Just like China, you brought up China brokered the deal between the Palestinians. People see like there is a sign of hope that that might, change this one polar international system.
Yeah.
That is the US. Adding more players might change things. That's what people, say. They don't love China or love Iran for the sake of it. Just they see just a glimpse of hope.
I mean, I think.
No, Phil, but you're gonna have to scream over me. You're gonna have to scream over. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Okay. No, what I was going to say is I think a lot of Americans, especially, American non-Donald Trump supporters, can relate to that kind of like hopelessness. But then like a tiny little thing changes, because when Joe Biden dropped out of the race and Kamala Harris took the spot, for the presidency in that election, it was just like a game changer, and like everyone in the Democratic coalition like had this sense of renewal and revitalization, even though she's like literally in the administration right now, carrying on all across the board, in line step with all of Joe Biden's policies and things like that. And it's just like even those tiny moments of things that if you were like, you take a step back and look at kind of the broader reality,
you got
the changes is not that big. Yeah,
you got no option but to choose between the donkey and the elephant, and both are bad.
Hamas and Fatah.
yeah. But well, I watched the debate live, and bro, that was so painful to watch. I hope Genocide Joe is okay, but
I don't think he is, but it's fine.
The fact that there were Palestinians out there watching that debate live.
I feel bad for him. I feel sorry for that man.
Well, one thing you need to understand is that the American election is not only being followed around the world. Like people. I mean, when people ask me why do you follow like the American elections, like in the past few years?
Under their foreign policy, man. Like, we shouldn't give a shit.
Wait, before you even we have to, because dude, this is such a big thing that we talk about all the time because we'll be on this channel and we'll be talking about Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, and someone will be like, you know what, I hate electoral politics. I don't know why you guys are even talking about this. Like, you're like a liberal. And I'll say, hey, like, I actually believe that there might be some kind of a downstream effect that this election will have on Palestine, because I'm like kind of like a single issue voter at this point when it comes to Gaza. Like, for me, genocide is like the dead stop issue.
You're our only issue that we care about.
So like, I'm just curious, because sometimes we're criticized for like maybe like advocating for Kamala Harris to win the presidency over Donald Trump. I'm curious that you, as a Palestinian, you said that people in Palestine are following this election. Can you talk about how American electoral politics are viewed as a Palestinian, like you personally, and the overall, like the general vibe of it?
Yeah. Well, it's funny here. People don't know, like many things are still hanging because of the American election.
Right.
Like the RSF doesn't want to talk with the Sudanese army. They are waiting for the new American administration. Fatah waiting for the American administration. Syria Turkish rapprochement might be blocked by Biden, but waiting for Trump. Maybe will be easier on Bashar. Nobody knows. Maybe it will be harsher.
Netanyahu won't stop, right? Netanyahu probably won't change anything until the election, right?
Netanyahu is above the law. I'm talking about people who fall under American foreign policy. No,
right. I'm sorry.
Right. Bibi's above foreign policy. Okay, he's looking down on it.
But
and when people ask me why do you follow the American election, bro, just put up a map of American military bases around the world or in the Middle East. American foreign policy just affects us every day, bro. And I do this joke, bro. I think I'm a Palestinian or as a Middle Eastern. I need to have a right to vote in the American election. I swear.
You do. I agree 1,000%.
Because you're basically choosing for me my dictator. Why don't I just go to the main boss and just elect the main boss, right? Who will choose my dictator, right?
Who would you rather be?
You're more knowledgeable than the average American voter. I can already on American politics. So you're just
who would you vote for in the next election? If you could vote,
American election.
Yes.
If I gave you, if I gave you my
ballot, who would you vote for?
Oh my God! If October 7th never happened, I would have seen. I would have.
No. You got to tell me.
Oh, okay.
You got your options are RFK Jr. with the brain worm.
You shouldn't have taken it out of the title, dude. It should have left it in.
Donald J. Trump, Kamala Harris, or some third party.
Isn't there a woman that is running independent or something?
Jill Stein.
Yes,
Stein is in the Green Party, and then the Party of Socialism and Liberation have a candidate they're running to.
Are you gonna vote for the communists in the Party for Socialism and Liberation?
Oh yeah, I guess Cornel West also.
No, you have. I mean, to be just realistic, you have to choose, as I said, between the donkey and the elephant.
Hamas and Fatah. So who are you voting for? Donald J. Trump?
Are you more worried? Are you?
Let me just like worse and bad and worse, but I think I go with Kamala. Fuck, Trump is just.
Hear that, boys?
Hear that, Chad?
Yeah, Chad.
Clip it and ship it.
We're vote shaming you right now.
What's the weird thing she says? Like she says
you are
fall out of a coconut tree.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
No,
not that one.
No, that's not the full thing. Did you think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You are the sum of all things that
you exist.
You exist in the context of all the things that came before you.
In which you live and what came before you.
In which you live and what came before you, yeah.
No, she says what's maybe burdened or so. I don't know.
Bro. Oh no, that's a different one. No. You can be unburdened by what has been or something. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It says some deep shit that you think like, oh my God, it's like.
Well, see that one is like nonsense, but the coconut tree one is like I think some good materialist like knowledge because it's actually her like thing her mom used to tell her and her like siblings about like you live in a world that like you exist in a context and you can't ignore that context.
It's really just Marxism. It's really just
it's very Marxist.
It's really just
her father was a Marxist. It's not like she like is not existing within the context that her father was a Marxist.
Yeah. And I mean I'm voting for. I would be voting for Kamala if I had the choice, just because maybe because people scumbags like Andrew Tate, Elon Musk, all these people supporting Trump 100%. Maybe because of his supporters, not because of him personally. Although he moved like the embassy to Jerusalem and resulted in people getting killed.
Are you not worried that a Donald Trump presidency, like Donald Trump is the one that recognized Jerusalem as the
Abraham Accords and all that?
Yeah, he there's a settlement named after him in the Golan Heights, the Trump Heights. Do you feel like he would be worse as do you think that a Trump presidency would be worse for Palestinians than a Kamala Harris presidency?
I think you could argue who was worse, but I think they don't set the rules. I mean, there's a team around them.
100%. 100%.
Can I ask
there are hard lines they can't. There are red lines they can't move regarding the Middle East policy foreign policy.
I don't want to derail this conversation, and I should probably also admit to you that I took my shahada like in March, right? Like it's something that I had been thinking about for like a long time and read into it before I did it. How do I get the process started for a fatwa to just tell Andrew Tate to shut the fuck up forever? Like, is there any way to like petition?
What form do you need to fill out?
Yeah, who in Saudi Arabia do I need to call or bribe or pay to get him to just shut the fuck up forever? I'm not saying he's not a Muslim. I'm not questioning his shahada. I'm not trying to do anything like that. I'm just trying to say, can we? I'm new here, all right, but I really feel like it would be a net positive if the rest of like Islam just told him to shut the fuck up for like ever.
How'd that one go over?
Well, I know if I knew how this can be done,
he's like low on the tier of.
I would have done it. I would have done it a long time ago.
Yeah, there you go.
But the thing is, well, Andrew Tate being on the pro-Palestine side and all these grifters
Right.
just make me hate the pro-Palestine. I swear, there are many scumbags. There are many scumbags on the pro-Palestine side, and there are people using
Right.
the issue for clout
Yeah.
for
Fake
views for
leftists.
selling. Yeah. He's not leftist. He's not even a leftist. He's just
Johnny's talking about someone else.
slandering. He's
Yeah,
currently
yeah.
slandering Muslims in the UK.
Right.
He's currently
Yeah,
calling
yeah.
Muslim migrants like
Yeah.
murderers and criminals and,
To be honest,
haters. Like,
on this issue, and already talked about it on my stream. The Muslims, I don't blame him. I swear, I blame the Muslim YouTubers and the Muslim influencers
Yes.
in Britain who just when Andrew Tate took the Shahada or the Declaration of
Yeah,
Faith,
yeah.
and people, oh my God, he's famous. He's now on our team,
Clean
and
of all of
and
his sins.
they basically rushed to him
I know.
to interview him, and he went on podcast with Muslims, and now you see these videos. It's so fucking funny. I mean, the Muslims there, they got what they deserve.
Dude.
I'm not talking about the average Muslim. I'm talking about the YouTubers and the influencers.
Hijabi, what's his name? That
Hijabi and bro,
I fucking hate him. I can't
I
stand him.
fucking bro, I fucking hate him more than you do. So you went for Andrew Tate, and you forgot that he screwed many people over.
Oh, yeah, he trafficked women. He
Yeah, and he basically scammed people, like literal scam, and you just forget about all of these things just because he became a Muslim, and you find these MMA fighters, these Muslim MMA fighters, be tolerant of his bullshit, and now they are saying those same YouTubers who just rushed to interview him, and they were about to convert Jordan Peterson. These guys are stupid. I swear. These guys are fucking.
Hey, they really think they were
Jordan
going to
Peterson.
convert
I swear.
Jordan fucking
I swear.
Peterson.
I swear. So the hijabi and all his.
He's a fucking idiot.
Yeah. And now they are posting videos. Andrew Tate revealed his true face. Bro, shut the fuck up.
He's
true
been
face.
revealing his true
You're-
face this whole
you're revealing
motherfucking
it.
time.
You're revealing your true face because
Yeah.
you're just willing to tolerate
Right.
a garbage, a piece of garbage just because of he's a Muslim. If you're a true, let's say if you're a true Muslim or a person who believes in an idea, you should call him out on these things, not just
Exactly.
tolerate all of the things and act like it is normal. And he still scams people, by the way. Till this day, he's selling them crypto and God knows what he promoting, bro. I mean, I hate these guys, and basically they got what they deserve when Andrew Tate stood with the far right, and now Andrew Tate is revealing his true face. No,
Yeah.
you're just stupid. That's
He's
it.
no better than fucking Tommy Robinson or whatever the hell that other tit's name is.
Who is on vacation in Greece right now?
Are
and
you
he's
serious right now?
Yeah, they talked about it on the Knowledge Fight podcast. He called in the Alex Jones show to talk about the riots and the pogroms going on.
so he's not on the front lines of his.
Well,
He's out in that faux Turkish
he had
paradise.
to flee the country because he is in violation of some criminal things. So he's basically just on
Shocking.
vacation in Greece
Yeah.
right now. So yeah, fuck that
U-
guy.
UAE became in a way in the Arab world. It's just a harbor of scammers. I swear, if you're a scammer running a scam network in Nigeria, calling people saying I'm from Microsoft, don't you know, bro? I can fix your computer and scam people and run a huge scam networks. You just can come to UAE and you start over, no taxes.
So what you're
nothing.
saying is Pat and I should move to the UAE, right, and restart this stream, and we can start making a lot more money.
Yeah. I mean, if you become a stenographer for the royal family, I mean, I mean, a mouthpiece for them. They will get. They will love you. They will give you money 100%. Yeah.
Dude,
We're already pretty close.
Yeah, like, he's got the Delco accent covered. I got like the North Jersey accent covered. Like, if they need people to like kind of like dissect people from New Jersey's like accents and talking business, right? For like, the Port Authority or something when they're trying to ship stuff, we got them covered,
Yeah, yeah, but my point is that there are too many scammers in the UAE. Like people fleeing from Africa, from uh, East Asia, or whatever. You got the Andrew Tates, all these people. Yeah, I mean, nobody cares. You're in the UAE. You're just in safe hands.
Yeah.
Nobody will go after you.
No.
I mean, for what you did.
I didn't know Tate wasn't a Romania anymore. I guess it makes sense that he would flee.
Yeah, no, he got out and then fled immediately.
Sex trafficking, is that just done with now? I can't believe that I even forgot that. Like I just saw him on Piers Morgan the other day, and I was just like, oh, there's Andrew Tate, and I didn't even think like, oh, what about like that prison sentence that he was supposed to get? Like what happened with that? Or is that just done?
He fled the country.
No, and he claims to defend the average man, and these teenagers are falling for it. That's sad. I mean, you just screwed the average man. You just sold people. You just sold people bullshit and exploited people doing pornography sites and cam sites and exploited women.
Well, and I think on the other side of it too, he breaks up these people's like the people who get radicalized by him. It breaks up their entire like immediate social fabric, and unless they have like some really loving and like accepting family there, they get marginalized that way, and so like. He ruins their lives financially, but he ruins their social lives too.
So here's the thing. Andrew Tate, prior to, taking his shahada, the vast majority of people that he was scamming were like 10-year-olds that were like pilfering through their mother's purses and taking their credit card information to get like, access to his Discord to learn how to pick up women or something, right? It is fucking sad the amount of adult Muslim men, right, that are falling for a scam that 10-year-old white children in the suburbs were falling for. Do you not have any fucking self-respect or intelligence? Do you not have the breath of intellect within you to see through this bullshit?
It's culture wars. I mean, you start a culture war, you start these stupid gender wars. And you do a fresh and fit podcast. What's it called? What is called?
That's what Subversive History was supposed to be. It was supposed to be like a commie, fresh and fit. I don't know which one of us would be fresh and which one would be fit.
Yeah, and you start all these, and people because people are so concentrated on, at least right now, I see on Twitter, on social issues. People are not talking about political issues. I mean, barely you see anybody talking about inflation, maybe just when they just want to criticize or the fall of the dollar or what's going to happen in the future. But they just focus on, abortion or social issues. And these gender wars actually, made people rich. Just like Andrew Tate, Andrew Tate was running this gender war and basically scam people on his way, in his journey.
Yeah,
scam teenagers and
What a lovely world we live in.
Well, we've I know that we've devolved pretty deep into the Andrew Tate discussion. At this
Yeah, it wasn't about it, but
we normally go till about 10 o'clock. I mean, what do you think? I mean, I know that it's probably, what is it, like 3 o'clock in the morning where you're at now or something like that?
Yeah. I usually play PUBG at this time till morning because we're waiting for. At this point, we're just waiting for everybody. Like, stay up late. I'm not kidding. Stay up late till morning because they want to see the drones and what might happen. Maybe a drone might fall over you. We don't know.
Yeah.
You might get killed by an Iranian drone. Like I don't know.
It'd be something.
Kamikaze Shahad drone.
At least I'm being killed by Iranian.
Yeah. So everybody almost like if you if you check like the whole town, maybe most people are awake by now. So I have no issue. If you have any questions, I'm ready to answer.
So I guess I kind of have a question that I think kind of might sum up a
Chat,
little bit of
if they have.
everything. Yeah,
Okay.
chat, sound off any questions too.
Yeah, let us know, chat.
But so the currency that you use most are shekels, right? You mentioned them, talked about a little bit earlier, but that's like the primary currency that you have to use,
Yeah.
right?
Israeli currency.
Yeah, so to me, like those are the kind of things that kind of indicate that like the situation already is a one. There's like a single state that exists there,
Yeah.
and it's an apartheid state, and kind of because of how it plays out in everyday life, but it's kind of the thing that unifies it all is the currency, and that's a pretty common thing for governments and empires throughout the world or whatever. Which for me as like an American voter, and it's something that I think like and one who like cares about foreign policy, because sadly that's just not what American voters really care about by and large. But that I think it's really frustrating because like if someone who's like way on the outside can kind of have this material understanding of the situation on the ground, and then like you have people, you brought up the counterinsurgency and dealing with that, like you have people like Lloyd Austin, the Secretary of Defense, being like, yeah, it's pointless to do what they're doing in Gaza to eradicate Hamas because it's just engendering more radicalization, to a whole new generation and things like that. And so it's just like and it for people who might not even be familiar with it, it's just an indication of like the strategic ambiguity that the United States uses to operate in so much, because they can talk out of both sides of their mouth in this situation where they're like, we know that the bombing is going to make the problem worse in the future, but we're also going to be sending you the money and the weapons to facilitate those actions. So it's just.
But that's what they do. That's their American foreign policy. It's just sometimes you sometimes think it's stupid. Like they created Al Qaeda. A few years later, they complain about Al Qaeda. They radicalized the Middle East so much. You got the Zainabiyun, the Fatimiyun, you got ISIS, you got all these radical groups, Sunni and Shia. ISIS-K, ISIS Khorasan now is very popular at this point.
Came out of nowhere, man. It's crazy how fast they got set up as soon as they hit Afghanistan.
I was covering it 2 days ago, and you got ISIS Khorasan, you got Qaeda, you got Taliban, you got Boko Haram, you got all these.
Yeah.
Haven't you just learned as I'm talking to the people who just put the American foreign policy in power, that radicalizing the region will not help peace at all. But I don't think they care. I mean, they want to sell more weapons. They want one of the most important sites for the Americans to protect is the Rafael industry, which was captured recently by a Hezbollah drone, and in a message that they might attack it, and this might actually make the Americans. Rafael industry in Haifa is very classified, it's a military site. So you got all these manufacturing, in Israel, outside Israel, you get all these arm manufacturing facilities that you need to keep selling these weapons, and your foreign policy, like to the average person, is just like stupid. Why do you create Al Qaeda, for example? I mean, Taliban are the Afghanis defending their land. They're already defending against the Soviets. You don't need Al Qaeda. I mean, you don't need Al Qaeda, and you're fighting Taliban. You should fight Al Qaeda. That's what you're fight. That's what you should be fighting. So Al Qaeda is just an organization that was implanted in Afghanistan. It's not authentic. The Afghanis are just tribes. Are just people. People. Yeah. There are people just defending their land. I mean, just like Hamas. People try to make Hamas like Al Qaeda or ISIS or something. Hamas are Palestinians. These fighters are Palestinians.
Yeah.
I mean, they are Islamist. That's 100%. They are Islamist. We can't deny it. They have Islamist ideology.
Right.
But they are part of the fabric of the Palestinian people.
Right.
So on the foreign policy, I mean, they left a vacuum in Iraq, power vacuum in Iraq, and people fight over it. Now they left a power vacuum in Afghanistan when they withdraw. Now ISIS Khorasan. Now you have Taliban. You have Al Qaeda.
Suddenly there's very expensive minerals.
Yeah. We'll start fighting over again.
Yeah.
Libya is on the verge of a civil war right now. There are reports coming of Libya because they denounced. They basically, like, both sides said the last deal we made, they denounced it.
Yeah.
So we'll fight again. What? I mean, Sudan. So you got, you create a problem, and this is not, by the way, to be fair for the Americans, which is a rare thing to do. This is not the American foreign policy. They did not invent it. Invented it. They took it from the British.
Yeah.
The British did this thing with the Kuwait and Iraq.
They did it with India. They did it with India as well.
With India and Pakistan, you have these regions. You just occupy them for long, and once you want to get out, you create a problem out of nowhere. I talked about the term. There is a term called pillow state. This term was coined by a British historian, expert on the Middle East, Robin Badwell or something. So he says when Britain was about to go out from the Middle East, they started creating pillow states, like Kuwait, for example.
Yeah,
Kuwait is a pillow state.
Yeah.
Kind of like Hong Kong,
It's a made up state.
like Hong Kong.
Jordan, there is no Jordan. There is no Jordan.
Yeah.
Well, Egypt existed. Egypt, because it's a kingdom and it goes back in history. Syria, Palestine. Palestine was called at one point in time Syria, Palestina, or the sometimes called in Arabic. In Arabic, they call it Southern Syria, because we have the same culture. We Palestinians, Lebanese, Jordanians, we have the Levant culture.
Yeah.
That's why I speak Levantine Arabic dialect. I don't speak Egyptian dialect.
Yeah.
So just to stay on the British foreign policy. The British foreign policy was, we occupy this country, then we create a problem. Just like in Iraq, they left I don't know how many square meters between the two countries. Your border is this. This is the British dictation, to the countries.
Yeah.
Your Iraqi border is this, and your border goes here, Kuwait.
France,
and this area, it's unclaimed. France in Morocco, Algeria, now people fighting over the Western Sahara and what.
Yeah.
So you have all these problems that you create as a colonizer just to keep the people in control.
Put a Saudi at the throne of the Jordanian kingdom.
I have to ask you something, because now that you brought that up, there's something very important to ask you. Right before I ask you that, there was one question from chat. Hashkush wants to know: have you ever been to Al Aqsa?
Yes, two or three times.
Two or three times. I didn't want to ignore the question. It was the only question we had in chat. But
I got Israeli permit for it, and was for specific hours. So you get an Israeli permit. They used to issue permits for Palestinians in Ramadan, only in Ramadan. So people just go there, and you finish your hour and you come back.
Okay. So the other question that I had was, and you just brought it up because you just brought up, that these countries, this idea of Jordan and things like that are relatively new as a nation state. These are relatively new. So I guess I wanted to ask you, because there's this constant thing that comes out of the Zionist camp that there was never a Palestine. There's no Palestinian culture. All of this just came up in response to Israel. So I was just curious, do you know how long your family has been living? How long has your family been living in Palestine? How long has your family been identifying as Palestinian? How long has there been a semblance of a Palestinian culture that you're aware of as somebody that grew up there?
I tried to trace back my father's family. My father's family is an Umayyad family. You know Umayyad?
I don't.
The Umayyad
Caliphate.
Caliphate.
Yeah.
So we have something in the Palestinian culture where you have a building for the family. All the cousins and stuff. We call it Diwaniya or Diwan.
Yeah.
It's like a place where people go and talk. You know, people from the same family. You know, you just go and talk. It's just like maintaining, social life. You know,
Right.
and you have if you have like a wedding or an occasion of some sort, you can use this place because you're part of the family. You know, and you invite the family in this place so that you don't use like your home. Let's say if you don't have space for all these people. So it's a big thing. So on the building of on my family building, the Diwania or the Diwan, it's written very old, billboard, or I don't know if you call it billboard. So it's called Diwan. Then my name, the name of my family, Al Umawi. So it traces back to the Umayyad, the Umayyad Caliphate. Then I went to the family tree. There was a guy from our family who did like who just went very very back, traced people, grandfather, then grandfather. So then he came to the conclusion that we came at one point in time from Egypt, us, my father family side. My mother, on the other hand, my mother have lived in Haifa for, I don't know, God knows, forever. They are not even they are not like if people come from Saudi Arabia or from the Arab countries, just like the Zionists say,
Yeah.
If you visit Saudi Arabia, their skin tone is different.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. From the Levant, this is not a race thing. It's just from the Levant.
No, I know.
From the Levantine people, we have like white people. We have like light-skinned people. We have just have you visited like
people like Rashid Khalidi? Rashid Khalidi is an example of this. The Palestinian Rashid Khalidi,
ginger-haired white guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have all these and isn't I forgot his name. Okay, so you have all these skin tones. These aren't like skin tones of the we call it the Arab Al Hijaz. We call it Al Hijaz, which is the place where Saudi Arabia and Islam emerged from, and these people are much darker than us, and we have like different skin tones. We basically Palestinians. Lebanese are traced to the Phoenicians. We trace to the Canaanites. Actually, Ghassan Kanafani wrote about the Canaani history of Palestine.
Yeah,
people can look it up. So we basically trace for the Canaanites basically as Palestinians. But as I said, like my father's side of the family. It seems that they came from Egypt at one point in time in history. I don't know. It's very old. Before Israel even created, by the way, because you go. I went to the family tree. He did, this researcher. He's part of our family. And I don't have a close relationship with him, but I went to his office and he showed me the tree. Bro, you go like I don't know. You go like 600-700 years or something like this.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I can't even go back.
We've been here unless you want to go to biblical times and you say that God gave us the land, then I can't agree with. I can't argue with that because
I can't even go back further than like maybe 2
after
or 3 generations.
If you get to my grandparents, things get real hazy after that. Like I get to literally my parents' parents, and then after that, everybody starts going like, "Well, you know what I mean?" Like I think
India does not keep birth records or anything. So like my father's side is out of like Mumbai, but also English too because of colonization. So it's like I can get like names and stuff of like the people that colonized India, but for any of the people that are actually from India, it's like, yeah, no, her name was.
You're Indian. You look Lebanese or you look Levant. I swear.
Bro, I am.
You can say anything to Johnny. I thought he was Italian. I thought he was Italian when I fucking.
I am a Rorschach Mexican. I am an ethnic Rorschach test for like to a certain degree. But like, yeah, my father's side is like out of Mumbai, and I can't get like any further than like I think my grandfather's father where like colonization, like that's when they came, and then like I can't I don't I like the wives' names that were clearly like Daisy, like are clearly English names that they were given, clearly not Indian anyway. And it's like I have no idea about like my family ancestry within like the Indian subcontinent, which depresses me, but like it is what it is. And I'm sure
I wouldn't have known either, but I just went to a guy just by chance. The guy is doing a research on the family. He's interested in. He did actually a research for about 10 families. Maybe I bring the report next time. He just he actually searched like 10 families and where they came from, and people who are just Hebronite, like from Hebron itself, have been living here for God knows how many years, and people who came from elsewhere. We trace to the Umayyad Caliphate. But by the way, the Umayyad Caliphate is not recent. So people in the chat think, bro, this is very very old.
Yeah, we're talking at least close to what, like 1400 years ago now?
Yeah.
Roughly, at least.
Yeah, it's
amazing.
like the second. It's like the second one, I think.
So,
well, I think the contrast between all of our stories, because I think because like I kind of have a similar I don't really know too much of the details of my like family history or whatever, but it's like I think it's a pretty good example of like just the alienation of like colonial capitalism, because it's like we are have stories that are like settler based, and so it loses that tie that to the land and the people that we came from, and then Johnny's story kind of reflects that in a different way, where it's like the colonial families mixing with the indigenous families, and then yeah, you're able to like look and see a building that kind of reflects this deep ties to the land.
There's no buildings like that left in Mumbai. It's all skyscrapers and shit.
Yeah. Well, on the topic of families, I just recently watched the Boardwalk Empire or something.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Lose it.
Tell Pat to watch it. Tell him to watch it. Demand
I
that
haven't
he
watched it
watches
either,
it.
so.
Bro, the Thompson family when the last guy got killed, Nucky, bro.
No, oh my God! What are you doing? What are you doing? He hasn't
I have no
watched it.
context. I have no context.
Okay,
so.
yeah, I have no idea what anyone's talking about. None of it. This is all meaningless. You
Bro.
guys, I know that there's just two Muslims speaking Arabic to one another, and I deciphered none of that. I didn't understand any of the tongue that you guys were just speaking.
Oh, bro. Did you not watch it at all?
I think I might have watched an episode or two, to be honest.
I never
my
have.
wife and him can't get past like the first 4 episodes.
I know Steve Buscemi is in it, and I know the guy that played Combo in This Is England is also in it. I think he plays out.
It's got Omar in it. Like, why
Omar
would you not want to watch this?
I didn't know any. By the way, to be honest, I didn't know any actors beforehand. It just
That's
got
okay.
recommended
Don't worry
by
about
you.
that. We are steeped in American prestige television.
But the whole thing about prohibition is interesting, so I wanted to just.
No, we definitely need to have you back on after Pat has watched Boardwalk Empire and talk
maybe
about
that can be our next conversation. We can do a Boardwalk Empire retrospective.
Oh my God.
With us, and we can discuss the final points of it. But we're probably at about raiding out time, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, I know. I mean, it's been amazing. I mean, who are you apologizing to?
That it has to end. I'm sorry that it has to end.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure that we could do it again soon if you would be willing to come on again, maybe in a month or so.
Yeah, sure.
Let a little time elapse and then bring you back for round 2. I'm sure we'll have more questions. There'll probably be more regional developments that we can talk about. And
when the Iranian drones reach finally.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Mo, are you streaming right now?
Am I streaming? Yes, I think. I think I'm streaming.
It says you're
Yeah.
streaming. Right? Are you staying up after this? Because like I have to go to bed for work, but I'll write out to you if you want. Like,
Should we
No, the thing is,
or is it just because I have you tagged that it says that you're on?
yeah, I think. What time is it? Wait.
It's 10 o'clock here, so it's got to be what,
Yeah,
like close to
cool.
4 o'clock for you.
No. I think I'm gonna sleep because
Okay.
Very good.
the Iranians
They're-
don't want to entertain us today, bro.
It's too
No
late.
drama,
It's too late.
no drama, no
Too late for
drama.
a show.
I swear to God, I said, bro, if those Iranians don't retaliate, they are the joke of the century, and I might show up in Tehran and do something stupid. I swear. They make us wait for this time, bro. I'm telling you, when I'm telling you, like, people wake up here, stay up late till morning to see rockets and just video it. Take pictures. People just cheer for, basically people are helpless right now, just to cheer for anything. And yeah, every day, bro, people just stay up late, and yeah, not today, not tonight, just go sleep.
Maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow.
And people repeat this, bro, since the assassination of Ismail Haniya in Tehran. People are waking up every day. I'm telling you, people are just staying up late till morning, then sleeping.
We didn't even talk about Yahya.
Johnny, save it for next time. We
Yeah,
can't go.
you're right.
Yeah, you got to work tomorrow.
I got to work too.
Yeah, bro.
Me too, actually.
Mo,
Yeah,
been absolutely
incredible.
incredible.
Mossad in the chat already. Maybe Mossad already in the chat right now.
You've been one of the most endearing and enjoyable and interesting
Oh,
guests
thank you
we've
so much.
had-
Thank you
we've
for
had
having
on.
me.
So we definitely want to set this up again in the future. Maybe we'll let a month go by or something like that, and then we'll bring you back in and see how everything's going. Maybe I'll have watched Boardwalk Empire by then. Who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows? Anything could happen
Yeah.
between now and then.
Mo,
Iran, Boardwalk Empire. At this point, you know what I mean? It could be anything. So,
World War III, I am definitely gonna stay in touch with you. I would really love to learn Arabic from you. I would just love to just stay friends with you. I think you
But
are.
you're
what
welcome.
time do you stream?
Hmm?
What time do you normally stream? You got a regular schedule?
I usually stream 6 p.m. my time, but it's been hard to stream this early because basically people waiting for the big event. I've just have to cover it and answer questions from the chat. So I do stream a bit late, like this. I end the stream and go just like this time.
okay. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. We got
Salam to
something
all our
to do.
Habibis, our Habibtis, all our
We got
neither and in
something to
between
do.
states.
So don't run around here trying to make friends with somebody who's depriving you of your rights. They're not your friends. No, they're your enemies. And treat them like that and fight them. And you'll get your freedom. My repertoire is USSR. Be a low style. Be a low style. Got thrown out the car. Guys with subversive plots. They'll call you an extremist or subversive or red radical. Guys with subversive plots. Red radical. And fight them. Capitalism and democracy. Capitalism and democracy are not synonymous. We do this up like ants in a colony.